Expect the B, and I think they're a really strong team.
Inside, just take it anyway. Big Galaxy trying to play into their triangle. Arrow does land on the sharpshooting up. Hoodwink. The job is not done yet. We are so ready for this grand finals to come our way. BB Team and P Vision have taken the stage and they are ready to kick it off. They're ready to kick the draft off. Before we get into the action, let's talk strategy. As we know, Seb, that both of these teams have talked strategy since they locked in their grand final spot.
I can't focus, I'm too hyped. I'm too hyped for this. I can't talk strategy, Shiva, right now. I can only talk about emotions and chills and whatnot. Puppey just entered the stage, the crowd is roaring. I mean, you know, you can feel it. You can feel it in the air, basically. It's building up. Strategy, obviously, it's going to be like absolutely crucial. You know, we heard it from the man Noah himself. It's like they know each other's really well, and it's gonna come down to who can like.
Better
than usual.
Yeah, I mean, for these two teams, I do think it's going to be very draft dependent, but I do want to talk about their history playing each other a little bit because P-Vision seem to have always had BB Team's number. In 2025, they've taken most of the series they've played against them, and in 2026, I think BB Team took one series off of them during World Dream League, but it's been very P-Vision favored. So I do think they have a very strong understanding in P-Vision on how to tackle BB Team and the way they play Dota.
To me, it's like I'm always so biased towards grand finals because I feel like it's a full reset. We've seen it so many times. I guess I've seen too much Dota at this point. It's like I've seen it happen so many times. Where like you think it applies, and then it's a grand finals, and then it's its own meta, basically its own season. Essentially, the season is starting now, and it's gonna end in a few hours. You know, whether it's in 3 maps, 4 or 5, we'll have to see. But I wouldn't take anything like for granted. I think, you know, everything is gonna have to be earned. Like it will really come down to what happens within this series. The draft will also be very telling. We might see adjustments like from the very get-go, where it's also best of 5. It allows for a little bit more freedom in what you want to do. If there's something you thought you could beat, but in a single elim bracket you didn't dare to, now is the time. And you know, people like Puppey, actually, like the man on the screen here, is like, we've had that conversation with him actually earlier for a content piece, and he's like, throughout my career, one of the biggest trap I fell into was beat it. You know, you're telling me that I can't beat Londred? I'm pretty sure I can. I have a pretty precise idea on how to beat Londred, or you name it, you know, Treant, any hero we might see today. And he's like, yeah, I became wise, you know, I've learned to ban it, but it's a best of 5. I'm sure his demons are gonna appear again, and he's gonna be like, you know what, we're gonna beat it today.
Yeah, it's no time to save strats for anything. This is the time where it all comes out. And important to note also for both of these teams, yes, they did take a title each this year, but neither was involving a crowd. And I think, I mean, we can feel it. We get goosebumps, and we're not the focus of all this energy. All this energy is focused, Effie, on the stage, so they will feel it even more so.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be an electrifying feeling for the players. No one has some super fans in this crowd when he walked up.
Yeah,
during that ceremony, they were screaming so loud, and he seemed to be beaming because of that. And when you take that kind of encouragement and support, I imagine it just buffs you so.
100%, and especially with players that are that learn how to master that crowd, to really use that energy and channel it towards their own performance, to enhance it, and even also towards their opposition, because BB Team, they're gonna feel that too. Like, I think it's always tough. It's already tough enough having to play versus a player or a team, but having to play versus a player and, you know, all his fans or supporters, that's even tougher.
We are in the draft for game 1 of this best of 5. We got BB Team on the Radiant side, Vision, and a couple of bands already in. And a couple usual suspects already out as well. A hero that I'm going to keep my eyes on. I'm sure Nineclass would like to play Keeper of the Light on his birthday. It's the hero that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on.
These are big heroes to go through, like to get through the first ban phase. Like you named Keeper of the Light. There's also Treant that hasn't been banned yet. There's a suspicious Necrophos ban, so Puppey's cooking something there, because we haven't seen Necro being first phase ban usually. So this is something that, you know, they're setting something up for, you know, I don't think it was related to Wyvern, so it's like a plan they have for the second phase, and he's kind of getting rid of this already. It's pretty common to do this nowadays, because there's only so many bans you have in the second phase of the ban, and usually these like second stage bans, they have to address what has been first picked by the opposing team. So you could, if you plan the draft ahead, which both teams did, by the way, they spent hours preparing for this and these openers, they might have realized, okay, if we want to pick that hero later down the road, Necro is a problem.
เจ้า
I'm just
ไว
gonna
แฟ
get rid of Necro.
Yeah, which is a cool
อัน
thing
นั้นยังเปียก
because
ว่า
they
ไม่
spend
รู้
hours
อันนั้นเนี่ย
and I
จะเล่นหลัก
doubt
เลย
that. But we are going into bonus time for BB team for their first pick, and that means that in their prep, Effie, this was not a scenario that they prepped
ใช่
for.
ทรี
Yeah, I think they were just deciding from the picks
ที่
left
ดู
in
เปรี้ยว
the
มา
pool
ว่าละ
whether
ดู
they
ผิด
were
อ่ะ
going to take Treant or Darkseer potentially. And I bring up Darkseer because I think it's a very key hero for P-Vision in enabling their Earth Spirit. Their Earth Spirit is a very important hero for them because they played from no one on that mid and from 9 class on that position 4, but he's half of the equation. Without the Darkseer, they rarely go for the Earth Spirit.
We see the Treant Protector, one of the, I guess one of the best heroes this tournament. I mean, we kind of knew going into it that it would be highly contested. It was. It also was very successful, you know, considering the fact that this hero is either first picked or first banned. So I think when a hero stands above 50% win rate, even though it's being first picked and therefore counter-picked throughout the entire draft, it means it's very good.
Yeah, it says a lot about the hero because a lot of the popular heroes that have been overly contested, including the Drow Ranger that we see in the first phase of bans, is sitting at a 44% win rate. So it's important to not overreact just based on what's popular, and it seems like both of these two teams will not be doing that. When I see Treant Protector, I think about Dispels. Like, they're probably looking towards Largo or Enchantress or something along those lines.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Largo versus Treant. It looked very good. It looked very successful. So we'll have to see.
แกดี
if
โอ
this is
นี่
something
แบบบ้าน
they
อ่ะ
wanna
เนาะ
set up.
ปลาเราฉีกเราเสียซะละ
Looking for
แบบกู
the plan
And then I'll see, eh?
be revealed by P-Vision, like what was the Necrophos ban about, and is there something they're eyeing towards that, you know, they're yet to show. The Wind Ranger, that's a pretty classic ban, I think, against BB at this point. It's been used many times by Kiritich with a lot of success. Great pairing with the Treant, obviously a very toxic lane to go to. I don't think many laners can actually enter that lane. Yeah, and we're pretty standard for now. Both teams are going to have to start revealing their cards, basically with the following picks.
To theory craft on that Necrophos ban you're talking about, no one has been playing a lot of early picks within the draft on heroes like Ember Spirit and Earth Spirit. And while BB team have not played Necrophos yet, it could be something that they talk
Okay.
about. That
Tui
we
Phi
don't
man,
care
Tui Phi
if
man.
they're Asgard, we don't
Three
care
and
if
a
they get
keeper ne.
staggered, but we do have an issue dealing with Necrophos in particular.
That could very well be the answer. I think like some teams have shown that one of the answers to these popular spirits, like you named them, like Earth Spirit, Ember, probably the best two, and they've been super dominant this tournament, was Necro. So that clears the path for no one. Obviously, he has a very important role in that team, not only, you know, psychologically, I guess, as a mentor, but in game, he makes a lot of stuff happens around the map, and I think the more favorable of a matchup they can give him on his heroes, the better it will be for their tempo.
I see a scary combo in the pool for
Yes.
I see Beastmaster is available and they have the Keeper of the Light.
And BB is the cuddled beast team. They were the one introducing back, I guess, the combo to the tournament with great success, and they've also been blind picking it. It's like they're so confident in their ability to execute this lane that they don't really care what they lane against. So it would be a great pick. It would be a great pick for them. A little bit of insider information. I mean, they can't hear me, so I can just go ahead and reveal it. You know, had the chance to play a couple pubs this morning, run into GPK a couple times, and I had he was playing Colo mid, and he was just destroying game after game with it. It could be. I'm just thinking maybe it's open. Like they knew the hero is going to be contested by both teams, and it is a menace sometimes. Like there are games where you forget that this hero can be core, and it can be really hard to stop. They decide to steal the beast. That is
ဒီ
pretty
မှာ
cool.
စာ stupid ကြီးလောက်သွားတာ
It's a
ပေါ့
lane with Dark Willow. I think it's one of the better heroes against Treant on the lane. At least I think it, you know, it can be a little bit rougher in the mid game, but one of note is the specialty. So I'm sure he's.
စတုံး separate ကြီးမကြိုက်ဘူးလား
Yeah, it's quite a good steal.
Don't need
What
it,
I
no?
like about the steal is
Don't
that
need
it
it.
makes sense within the context of their draft as well, because it will play against the Tree Protector, cut all of the trees on the lane, and just simplify that stage of the game.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, oh, let's take this away, we don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, and it's just a good pick, right? Like it synergizes really well with their heroes. It's a hero they're very comfortable playing anyway, so it's not gonna hurt them. Sometimes you see like steal picks, it makes sense, but you're like, but is this really what you would have went for if it wasn't for that. If the answer is no to that question, you probably should not go ahead and do it. But Klinks, that's a classic answer to the Beastmaster. Like extremely good lane for Klinks because Beast can basically not play with summons. Like Klinks will just dark pack them and they just give too much XP at this point. This is something the Beast cannot afford. So BB team, they already secured themselves like a very favorable safe lane. But with that being said, we've seen Beastmasters like focus on stacking and clearing that. So no team is really in trouble. Very solid drafts on both ends so far.
Yeah, and the Slardar comes out, so we get that flex potential still open. It's overall last pick for BB, so they have the chance to change it up.
It's a great pick for them because it's an anti-melee hero in the sense that we were talking about no one's hero pool, right? With a lot of these embers and pangos and earth spirits.
တွေ့ရတယ်ဖြည့်ခြင်းနဲ့အာမားနဲ့နှုတ်ချင်တယ်တွားပြီးထင်ပါတယ်ဆရာကြီးတို့
And if you get
နောက်လိုက်တာငါမှမှောက်ပြီးထင်ပါရဲ့
it's going to be a hero that heavily enables their Klinks pick.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Like it makes it much worse. It feels bad right now to pick Ember or Earthspit for no one, and he was definitely looking at these heroes because if you look at the supposedly the support duo on Bedboom on like this Cuddle, they don't have any disables, right? They don't have stuns. They can't really cross the gap. So all these spirits would thrive in this game. So now you have to ask yourself, do you still want to play Ember? It's a free Ember game, but you might run into a Slardar, and the lane is going to be tough, or you just go away from it. So very smart.
Ember Spirit
I feel like
မပို့လိုက်မှာစလာတိုင်းမဖြစ်နိုင်ဘူး
proceed with
စ
it
လာတိုင်း
anyway, and he will just tank the match.
နိုင်လောက်ထင်
It's his call. At the end of the day, it's like how confident are you in your ability to play from behind for the first 5 minutes of the game? And the answer for no one is very confident. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, this just brings to mind the game that Pvision had yesterday versus Yandex, where they picked no one's Ember and they got Slardar, and he still cooked. Honestly, he cooked very hard, and he's one of those players that can withstand difficult matchups and make it look winning. Like to me, the Slardar looked kind of underwhelming, but it could have been just specific to that game because I do think he's a good solution.
It looks like a good Ember game to me. It's like I feel like, I mean, we'll see what the last pick is, but if this Slardar fails to shut down the Ember 1 versus 1, if it is the mid matchup, it is quite worrisome if you ask me, because like this Ember is gonna reign supreme. Like the tempo that can be brought from Pvision, it is intense. Like you think of an Ember running around with this Winter Wyvern, like even if they get a good angle on him and they start stunning him, he will get saved by Wyvern. This Beast with the Dom too, they can, you know, accelerate the game and they can play 4+1 essentially, which is something that this team enjoys doing. You know, leave Satanic on his island, let him farm up and connect when he feels ready to basically go for objectives or just win the game.
Yeah. Just looking at this Ember, there is nothing for this Flame Guard as well. Like, Slardar cannot remove it. If Ember were to roam on one of the side lanes, Keeper early game will not be able to remove it, and neither will Latrine Protector. So it just feels like these rotations are gonna hit.
There's a lot of weight on the last pick on the EB team the way I see it. Like luckily for them, they have the ultimate last pick, so they'll be able to see 5 heroes, and I'm sure they're gonna make, you know, nice use of it. But I would agree that there are angles in the draft that aren't covered, and they really need to tackle that.
For the carry pick for Pvision, some kind of gap close would be nice because you do have a ranged carry and ranged support in Winter Wyvern. This is when you can start looking at things like Kez and Tiny that are banned out.
Ah, yeah,
They do
finally,
have
got it.
PL. When you play against Klinks, you have to
Let's
make sure
ready-
you can get on
let's
top
ready
of
by
it,
pit line
and
man.
with
Ta
this
akao ne
Winter
no?
Rush build, it'll be perfect.
I mean, Necro is out. It's one of the best answers to PL in this batch. Like a lot of anti-PL heroes are out. I'm thinking there's still Darts here, which has been, you know, a very important pick for everyone really. All the successful teams, I guess, in this tournament. Pretty good versus Wyvern, pretty good versus PL, very good with Slardar. It might give them a little bit of the, you know, the magic damage that they miss. They go for the Timber. That's also a pretty good pick actually in this game. Very interesting pick. The lane is very good, I believe, versus PL. It should be. And Timber Coddle, like Coddle is a great enabler of Timber. Obviously, the cooldown reduction on the spells, the ability to stack and to clear stacks really early on. Miero has to carry the game with this Timber, I have to say. Like this has to be like a position 1 Timber kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Timber can do a lot, but if he doesn't
So wow,
snowball, I
Timber
can see the
sorry.
game getting out of hand very
ဟုတ်နိုင်ကြိုက်နိုင်မယ်
What
လို့
Timber
တော့
does
မျှော်လင့်ရ
offer this
ပါ
draft as well as magic damage, because between this Slardar plus the Klinks, they're heavily physical, and that's easy to play when there's an Ember, you know, like he's just gonna flame guard and cook. But with the Timbersaw, suddenly he's threatened a little bit more.
Yes.
But I do worry about later on in the game because you kind of have a means to kill this Timber anyway with the Dark Willow Bedlam plus any kind of disable from either Ember or Beast. Like it's not a free Timber game by any means.
No, it isn't. This Timber needs to have a very good laning phase and to get ahead and to stay ahead. And then, but Timber has the ability to carry this game, I would say. Like, if this Timber gets out of control, he will take over the game. So I think they really utilized well the last pick because, again, like there were holes in their draft that I think are covered now. Now it comes down to how well can you execute.
Are there any holes from the other side? Are there any problems that BB is throwing P-Vision's way that P-Vision hasn't properly solved yet themselves?
I mean, I think the Train Protector is always going to be an X factor because with that living armor and no dispel against it in the early game, it can clutch some engagements, clutch some trades. We talked about Slardar versus Ember being important. Put the armor on that Slardar and suddenly that lane becomes even more difficult.
Yeah, if you think, I mean, if you put some distance now with our train of thoughts and we look at just the lanes, I feel like BB team, they have secured themselves what they really enjoy the most, which is having dominant lanes. Like they're running Treant lanes versus a Beast lane. That's super favorable for them. They're running a Slaughter versus Ember mid, which again should go in Slaughter's favor. Obviously, it is no one playing Ember, but still it is GPK playing Slaughter. And I feel like a Timber Coddle lane cannot go wrong. It's like you're just gonna, either you're winning the lane or you're just damage controlling by clicking your spells off cooldown and playing for stacks. So they could just run away with that good of an early game that, you know, they're just unstoppable.
So for P-Vision, it is very important to make sure they don't bleed too much in those first like 10-ish minutes.
Every wave is going to matter because we've seen what BB team can do with an early lane advantage.
We have seen that. It is not pretty for the receiving team, that is for sure. Sounds like we got a great game ahead of us. Of course, it's only game one of a best of 5. I'm sure both teams will look for changes going into game 2, but what those changes will be, we'll have to find out which team needs to adjust more.
Okay.
It is time for game 1 with Gap and SVG.
လူတောင်နဲ့ရှိုးရမှာပဲ
It's time for the grand
ဒီမှာ sorry
finals.
လုံးနိုင်ကိုင်းနိုင်မလားဒီပဲ
BB team versus P-Vision. We've already got some early scouting from Katomi as he's going to be playing the Treant Protector, getting some early information against P-Vision, and who is going to get that first blood, Avery?
A lot on the line in this game one. We've seen how much pressure can exist as these series go later and later. You want to get off to a good start here. You want to start to gain momentum, and particularly between these two teams in terms of the strategy, the drafting. That's where this game one matters a lot. You're trying to force some of your strong heroes early on in this series, and if they falter, then you start to question them. Maybe they're not as strong as we thought. Maybe they're not going to propel us to this series win. This is where you can strike first, gain that edge, and say, hey, like our idea of the meta right now is just flat out better. What are you going to do about it? So I always think this game one in the series defines a lot in terms of what we're going to see over the long run. And I like what Seb talked about. He said, you know, grand finals always have a meta of their own. And you have to respect that. You can't lean too much into your knowledge of the tournament as a whole. You have to kind of feel the flow of the series. What's actually working, what's not. What is particular about the matchup between these two teams and how you feel in the game. And that's where these two coaches have to listen to their players, respect what they're viewing from an outside perspective, and make it all come together as you progress through potentially 5 games here.
And I feel like, I mean, is there a player matchup that you feel like is really emblematic of these two teams matching against each other?
I view the mid lane. If you look at Nolan, this guy, he is the consistency god. He's probably the most consistent mid laner that we've ever had in Dota 2 over such a long time period. And once more, he will rise to the grandest of stages where the lights are brightest to try and claim his first world championship that he's never been able to get. And on the flip side, you have GPK. This is a modern mid, right? This is not your old school archetype. This is a guy who's redefining what the mid lane looks like in the last 5 years in particular. And he has had one of the biggest
Short မှာတစ်ချက်ထိုး short မှာတစ်ချက်ထိုးလက်ပြပုံမရှိတာတာ short မှာတစ်ချက်ထိုး
he will snatch the Treant might be slow, but he's off to a fast start here.
And a late Shadow Realm from 9 class, rare mistake there from the young 4 position of P-Vision. So a good start for BB team. I like that you pointed out the mid laners. I mean, especially since BB team have always been a squad that I feel like is made up more of individual skill than a full team. All right, everybody points to this roster. Oh man, they've got some of the best players in every single one of their positions, and I think that's continued every single one of their rosters this year. it's continued to do so despite the change up of carries, right? The pickup of Kiritich, I think, was the biggest question mark, and he has certainly proven that he deserves to be on this grand final stage.
GBK လုံးနေပြီ GBK လုံးနေပြီ
Like they have a lot more identity as a five-man unit. It's not all about the individual plays. That, of course, is still there. You still have GBK as the KDA leader for this event, and Save is number 3. So, like, these two guys are the standout players for me in the squad. They always will be. If they're feeling their heroes popping off in a series, you always have a chance to win. But it has to be the team coming together because P-Vision, they're the highest KDA team of the event. Like, these guys are crushing it as a five-man squad. Their strategies are on point. They understand their win conditions, and that is what strikes me the most. Can you stop P-Vision getting to that 30, 35-minute high ground where the game just ends?
Yeah, they just rolled over so many teams
Exactly.
in that area. It feels like the game is like maybe slightly favored their way, and then they just blow the whole thing wide open.
Can't afford to give up some of those big core kills around that 25, 30-minute Roshan where P-Vision just run away with it. I think one thing for BB is they are a very strong laning team. And that is something that P-Vision have exploited against some of their, not necessarily weaker opponents, but weaker laning opponents.
Yeah.
When you gain that early edge, it's a lot easier to find those mid-game Roshans and just go high ground early. You're not going to find that edge against BB. Like, we just do not see this team lose lanes. You can draw. You can go even. You can eke out some minor victories, but you're not going to beat GBK mid in almost any matchup. You're not going to crush Kiritich on this safe lane. And as we're seeing here, you gave Miro last pick, so he's pretty cruising up here in a very good Timber game with Chakra Magic to back him up. You can potentially get stacks. You can potentially play more aggressive.
เนี่ยแหละ
This is
เคเท่าไหร่
a laning setup for P-Vision to gain any advantage in a game 1.
And you feel like this is a lane that they should win pretty heavily? Is this a matchup that you're looking at? Is Timbersaw is going to win this lane, maybe even kill the Phantom Lancer early on?
Over the long run, for sure.
Okay.
There's just not a lot of room for any sort of pushback. Wyvern is terrible against Timber too. This is one of Wyvern's worst matchups in Dota. Your Embrace is useless. Your ult is useless. You do slow burn damage that Timber doesn't really care about. He buys Lotuses. He can buy Dispels. Like, it's a miserable matchup here for the Wyvern, so we have to look for Ducalis to find impact elsewhere in this game. He does have the advantage of playing against two physical heroes in the Slardar and the Clinks. So if he can find a way to use Embrace against those two, get some
เป็น
nice
กอง
kills
ใน
like
กู
we've
แบบ
seen in
รู้ว่าอยากเลยมา
I have some faith that
Speaky
this first pick Wyvern will have
จะไหนเราดาว
a game.
เชียร์แข่งนี่แหละฮะ
Timber is not the
ไม่เล่นนะนักกอง
for him.
พลาดนะไอ้
That's
หวัง
the
ดี
reason
อ่ะ
this lane should go well for Miro. Just not a lot you can do to kick the Timber out of here.
And in which case, we already have the Slardar mid matchup against an Ember Spirit where he is favored. GPK may be favored as a laner against no one as well. So that's going to go the way of BB team. And then you've got Clinks versus Beastmaster, which is a favored matchup for BB team as well. So it feels like this is going to be a game 1 where BB team walk away with potentially a 3-lane victory.
PL is doing the best of everybody here, which is a good sign for them, as you do want this hero to get to his timings as quickly as possible. But you're right, it's going to be a BB team lane victory in this game 1, and I think that could be a trend for the series. However, I don't know if P-Vision mind. Again, I think they're playing for the mid game. They're playing for when this 5-man lineup comes together, and it's the team fighting that is the scariest thing about this squad. As long as someone has a good start, you can always play around that hero. Just has to be one of the 2 or the 3 here. Make space for the Phantom Lancer, you're going to be cruising.
BB team just cannot seem to get this top lane pulled back in any fashion. Ducalis has easy camp open. He's blocking away the hard camp, though they do manage to get this pull now.
They have a couple stacks brewing, too. So they haven't been able to get the pull, but you're getting stacks on that triangle. Neither of those camps got blocked out early. You're looking at the early invasion from P-Vision. If the Ember were having an absolutely free Ember game, that's where it would come from. But no one, he's getting pushed off mid. GPK is doing his job in this matchup. Took a commanding lead. No one just forced to jungle very early here.
ကျန်ခဲ့တွေပါပြီးလိုက်ရပြီနော်
This is something that we saw in the semifinals, but it didn't go as well. The Ember Spirit was still able to get through the laning phase pretty well against the Slardar, and then ultimately became the monster that we've seen the entire tournament along. I mean, you pointed to Ember Spirit as being the hero of the tournament, and well, we'll see if it's the hero of this grand finals or if this is where it's going to
ไอ้
finally
ก็เรา
falter.
အမှတစ်ချက်ထိုး
Sneaking around from
ထောင်းလိုက်မယ်တိုင်
behind. Bonks 9 class. They
ဟုတ်
have
ပြီ
the clutch to slow him
တယောက်
down
တစ်ချက်
even
ပေါက်ပဲပဲ
further. And,
ကြော့
a bash is gonna
ရှော့
go a lot.
ပြီးမှပြီးမှလုပ်ပြီးမယ်မင်း
အဲ့ကောင်ဒီအဲ့ဒီ
ဖတိကရုံးဒီ
are only able to get really a 2 versus 3 after already losing the Wyvern. No one comes in, but they can't really do anything. There's going to be a lot of damage on
အာ
the
ပေါ်မှာ
Look
ဒီ
how
လေးကို
low
กินလိုက်မလား
Satanic got. from the pressure the Timber saw. So he might have gotten the early laning phase. He's still walking away with the best CS, but the pressure is mounting up from that Timber saw.
Beautiful execution of your lane advantage. You go to the highest pressure lane where the Ember's the most susceptible, still not level 6 for no one, not a hero that P-Vision want to fight around, and you have two side laners that also have some good matchups here. So when you leave them in the vacuum, they're going to take advantage of it, they're going to kick the other two cores off the lane. You're putting a lot of pressure on the map, Katome. I don't know if you're winning this battle.
Nice try.
He'll look for it, he'll pay the price. Nice little pick up for
တန်ပါတယ်နော်ပေါ်တက်နှွေးရတယ်ပုံနေအောင်ပဲ
Still worried about
အောင်လည်းတိမှာပေါ်တက်နှွေးရတာတာကြီးပါညာအဲ့အောင်မင်းကြီးရင်တီးလို့ရပြီအေးတော့တူရမယ်တော့တူရမယ်ပြီးရ level 6မရောက်ခင်
There's just no way.
တီးလိုက်တော့ တီးလိုက်တော့
and make it to the siege wagon finally dies. He'll be a lot happier. Doppelgangers away. Miro starts tanking the aggro, and this is a tower that's gonna, I mean, likely just die unless P-Vision moves some supports over here.
No, you don't want to come up to this lane. Nobody wants to.
ဒီဝိုင်းတာဝါရပြီဒိုတွေဘက်ကတာဝါရပြီဒိုတွေဘက်ကတာဝါရပြီ
Because the Ember so far behind, that's going to be the most delayed here. His Timbersaw is going to be a problem in this game. He has Chalker magic backup. He has living armor backup. He's not on his own. You can have the Slardar go in beside him and kind of make space.
ရအောင်ပြေးမယ်တာကြီး
Katomi spotted
နာလီ
him.
ပေါ်တာခေါ်ခဲ့မယ်ပေါ်တာခေါ်ခဲ့မယ် regeneration ရောပါတယ်
They're already losing some map control, so they got to make sure at least their triangle remains unblocked.
GBK doing so much work in this lane that just set the early game up beautifully here. We saw this Ember Slardar matchup in some of the other series, and it did not go this poorly. So little lane execution making a big difference.
Take the stack and reblock it. And
Pretty
BB
nice.
team are going to take their own stacks and their own triangle right now,
That is juicy right there.
which is what no one was hoping to interrupt with the Ember Spirit. We've seen these Ember Spirits just be able to play in enemy triangles and interrupt stacks
No,
so many times and
steal three
ပြီး
small
သွားပြီ
goals.
ပြီးသွားပြီစားလို့တောက်လို့ပြီးသွားပြီယူလာကိုက်တယ်ယူလာကိုက်တာ
Everything counts then.
And similar game plans apparently from the 5 positions. Ducalis comes over and blocks that medium camp.
This is the real damage. Like this, it's not just you're getting so many stacks here. It's the efficiency about it, right? It happens very quickly. It doesn't cost.
အေးရှော့ပြီးလိုက်ပါရမလုပ်ပါနဲ့ရမလုပ်ပါနဲ့ရ
Just such a nice injection. And what's happening besides that? You're still just getting beat
Nice
off of the
time.
mid
အိုး
lane.
ယိုယိုယိုဒေါသကြီးလိုက်တာ GBK တို့
There does a little extra damage.
Very strong start. You're gonna smoke GPK at the end of this. That's that same smoke that was used for the Ancients, by the way. So even more efficiency coming out from that play.
Got him on the solar bind. Ducalis can fly, but he can't go far. He's going to be stuck in the cold embrace. We'll just delay his death a few seconds.
ကောင်းတယ်ကွာအဲ့လိုတော့သွားမသိပါနဲ့ဟာ
A little something for no one as a blood
Coming
grenade.
in, GPK is going to hit the crush on no one. No one tries to finish him off with the slight. The blood grenade did miss.
Yeah, that's some extra gold thrown away.
ဟိုသေးတော့
Tomi lives.
I feel like that TP from GPK was just saying like, no, I'm not going to give you anything in this game.
Yeah.
I don't care if that TP is good for me, but I know it's bad for you.
Look at this rotation. Notice. And Kiritich
ပြေးမယ်ပြေးမယ်ပြေးမယ်ပြေးမယ်
pushing in for the 10-minute power rune here. Savis is kind of stuck in the river, but with GPK pushing these
GPK ရှော့ပြီးတင်တယ်
now they're going to turn around, roar on him. Here comes a blast though to try and heal up GPK with the crush landing on a lot of heroes. It's
ရှော့မှာစာတင်မှာဆောလာပြီ
Timber chain and the whirling
ရရမနာပြီးလိုက်အောင်မနာပြီးလိုက်အောင်မနာနည်းနည်းလိုတယ်မနာနည်းနည်းလိုတယ်
just still fighting alongside this Miro.
အမ
Yeah, they're
ဒီလေးကိုရ
gonna
မ
keep
လား
going.
မရဘူး
He started backing away, but I think Kiritich is making the call. Bro, where are you going? We can win
ဟာဝရ
this
မလား
one.
ရအောင်
I love 10 heroes in the mid lane at 10 minutes. This is your average European pub right here.
That's
And
right.
As the tempo picks up, nobody wants to give that power. That is the importance of these runes in this game and the importance of winning that clash. It's just an escalation, right? If you're going to bring some hero, then we have to bring one more. And if we bring one more, then we have to bring our carry into the fight. It's only the PL that doesn't want to join that exchange, which very reasonable. I think if PL joined that, everybody would have been confused.
တေဆူရတော့မယ်တေဆူရတော့မယ်ငါတို့ကယ်ရီက
I bring a gun. Both teams ended up bringing a bazooka to the mid lane. And the clash does result in BB team having a decent lead off
Nice
this
bounties.
laning phase, 3,000. Yeah, a lot of bounties. Ooh.
You really have to be careful of how much the Timber gets in some of these cleanup situations because he is the raid boss here. At least until the PL is ready to join and have his own presence. Which
And what is
he's
BB
farming
team's
pretty well.
plan here for this Phantom Lancer? Is this a game? Is this the kind of hero in their lineup? Are they able to hunt down this Phantom Lancer, or are they just going to be playing to kind of win the 5 versus 4? Hope they keep the rest of P-Vision down enough.
အဲ
I think
တေးလို့တော့မရ
they're
ဘူးနော်ရ
gonna push the rest of the squad. Miro getting chased off here.
Yeah, he's the one kind of
Kiwi
getting punished
Teneo.
here. Does have Lotus in the pool, not going to go for it. Timber chains far enough
Lead out.
away. He's going to be fine, but it does say something that the Timber Saw gets pushed out of lane like that.
Oh, for sure. Space for this Phantom Lancer to gain some
Llega ya,
control.
llega ya, vi.
Force the Timber back into the fountain. Map presence will pick up from Kiritich the second that Deso's online. He's not a player who is likely to AFK when you have this sort of lead early on. You can join any of the fights, collect some of those Deso charges. You're going to feel great about it, especially with this tree scouting so much territory. Kataomi has just been an invading force in this early game.
We've seen his playstyle. He doesn't really care if he lives or dies,
Ugh.
as long as he's getting good information, breaking smokes. It's kind of one of those supports that is just always going to be on the enemy side of the map.
I like this lane pull. One, you're dodging that Slardar in the mid lane, but two, you're kind of soft scouting the stacks.
Sure.
Like, while you have this haste rune, while you have that get out of jail free card, there's no way no one dies on the map right now, so you may as well get as aggressive as possible with your farming pattern, give as much information to the team. This is a kind of a cheeky smoke to bypass that.
This is a tough kill to
Very
land.
tough kill.
They're going to lead off with the crush. Doppelganger's going to be the danger here. If he gets
မိသွားပြီမိသွားပြီwinter fight ပဲရှိသေးတယ်ကွာမင်းတို့စစ်ကြောက်နေတာ
He's already underneath the tier 2. It's not worth.
Way too hard to bring him down. Unless you have overgrowth on the follow-up, you just don't have the stuns for the Phantom Lance this game.
Right.
I would almost like to see them have gone into triangle. Again, ignore PLs, shut down the other heroes, because I think you have more reliable ways to take them down.
So the first reveal of the Blink Dagger for GPK doesn't really amount to much here. No one's going to try and continue to draw attention around this mid lane. It is freeing up our side laners quite a bit. Overgrowth. And let's see if they chain all the stuns here.
အာရောင်အေး
Flash and crush is not good enough, and no one's now going to
Big
get
creative ဖြစ်သွားပြီ
away with the
ကွာ
haste
အဲ့ဒါ
rune. So this is exactly what he wants. Drawing heroes to the mid lane, away from his Phantom Lancer, away from his Beastmaster.
Power the haste rune in that situation. He knows his limits. Very few early game stuns on this BB squad, and that's something they're going to have to recognize. You can maybe end up in a situation where you get like a cheeky double crush with Chakra Magic going into GBK at the right time, but that's about it. Wonder if we'll see some sort of early disable come out. Like sometimes you could go
Right.
toes on the Timber.
အဲ့ဟိုတွေပြန်တက်လာတဲ့
I don't think any of these heroes really want to buy an early Orchid. Otherwise, your options are pretty limited in this lineup.
အဲ့တစ်ထောင်အားကိုတာဝါနှလုံးသားဖြစ်
Sometimes we see him rush some crazy item on the Coddle to help with your lockdown situation, but otherwise you have to understand these smoke plays are not going to be that efficient. You're going to have to just look for extra farm, take areas away, and kind of put P-Vision in a spot where they feel pressure to fight into you. There's a Wisdom Shrine taken away by the Wyvern.
Nicely done by DeCollis.
Super big pickup for him. You need some extra levels on this hero.
I would say another option for disable, right, would be Orchid Clinks. We've seen some of these Clinks build that item, but
Yes.
because he's matched up against Phantom Lancer, he kind of just needs the raw damage output. You have to go Deso, you have to go Shard, and then from there, it feels like you just always have to build more damage in order to threaten him in all his solutions.
Yeah, I don't want to see the Orchid on in this game. I think it's a way too risky of a pickup. Maybe you get one or two connections on the Ember, but how much does that change the game?
Yeah.
Like, it's not your job as Clinks to shut down this Ember right now. It's your job to kind of deal with some of the beast pressure and assassinate the back line. Maybe the Orchid give you some value against the supports. That could be in consideration, but I doubt we'll see it here.
Agreed. Well, he's kept the Beastmaster from taking the tower. Another jump here from GPK. But again, a lack of disables. No one is pretty unconcerned about this whole thing.
This is more the Ember Slaughter matchup. Like, GPK did a really good job early, but I do feel this is pretty Ember favored as we go into the mid game. The chain's controlling you.
Trying to land the Bramble. Now threatening the Terrorize, trying to catch up to the Bedlam. Blinding Light pushes back 9 class, limiting the damage. And Save is going to live for now. With Miro showing up, everyone's going to back.
လိုက်ရအောင်လိုက်ရ
Miro's going to try
ကုန်
and
လိုက်
run
ပြ
down. Kiritich joining in here.
Once a Deso hit.
Got to get those charges where you can. 9 class gets bursted down nice and quick. Kiritich is scouting out. They make a jump there from GPK. Satanic.
They're going to bite the bait.
This is going to bite. They're going to go for the illusion. He's now duping his way. He made his way out with the TP. He's good.
Nice jukes, nice space created as the mid lane push coming through from the Beastmaster, going to force a response out from BB.
တော်တက်နေတယ်
They're going to bring the Timber Saw in to defend.
And it's classic P-Vision. We're seeing them
Oh, yeah.
just kind of move you around the map. You unsuccessfully are chasing heroes. Towers are being hit on the other side of the map as a result.
Hunting no one with the Clinks, but again, this isn't a threat. I don't think he dies here.
I mean, it's a very small window. He has the bash ready to go. Is it going to be enough? It's close, but he got off the sleight of fist and into the remnant again. BB team trying so hard to kill an Ember Spirit who just will not die.
You have to be able
Yeah,
to find
yeah,
these
that-
pickoffs.
Honey,
Activision are
that
the
I
top
don't make
army
it.
right now.
I wrote lit
Lead
weekend.
has not grown since that end of the early game at 10 minutes. In fact, it's gone P-Vision's way. It's PL sucking more out of the map right now. The Beast is getting the lanes in without dying. And in some ways, that's the guy you would have liked to have hunt the most here is the Beastmaster. Take him off the map, invade their triangle, take away the ancient space, play around the tree and scouting.
Yeah, we never saw deep smoke plays into the right, the corner camps there so much. They didn't play for the 14-minute Wisdom Shrine, for example.
I thought that was going to be the point of attack because you had this Clinks against the Beast who took the early tier 1 tower. You can kind of get in there. He can help you do it. You have living armor to back you up. It would have been a nice area to get into. I just never saw it happen, which means you have to go back to some stacking, some efficiency of your own.
စိတ်ကမွတ်နေတယ်ဗျ
Keeps getting fat alongside
ဒီပါတလိုက်ရ
here. That's going to be your real scaling power.
အဝဲလုံးနဲ့နောက်ဝတူနေတာမပြောအောင်
It is a good matchup for the Timber. You're in the top 5 here statistically, so it's got to count for something.
Yeah, how good do you think this Timber Saw is now that he no longer has, the double chakram? His Ags, is that a suitable replacement against Phantom Lancer? Is that actually any good versus that hero?
You're a damage threat over the long run in a team fight, but you're not a hero that controls him. And I don't know, personally, I feel like whenever I play against PL, I at least want one hero that can lock him down and set up some of your other damage sources. Otherwise, it just feels like he's running through the fight. And yeah, the Timber's going to put some damage into him, but he's not killing him that fast. He's not controlling him. You're not a threat to the Timber, so in that sense, Miro has free reign in the fight as well, and you can kind of play around him on the front line.
So stuns are just always going to be a problem, it sounds like. It's a problem
think so.
early, and it's
I
going
think
to be a
so.
problem for the rest of the game.
Might prompt early hexes here.
Yeah.
Maybe if they, like that 30-40 minute hex that can set a lot more up in the team fight, we could see that come out from the Timber.
Coddle is a great hero.
Yeah, Coddle as
Kind
well.
of rush aside the vice.
ဘေးအကောင်တော့ရလောက်တယ်
That's who they want.
They do manage to get the jump of the Beastmaster.
ခုနအမ်ဘာဘာလို့အဲ့လောက်မှာ
Killing the Beast and some Deso charges.
That is how you want these smokes to land. Like, biggest target on the map, easiest target to kill, don't need as much control. And you can just translate that into a quick objective here. 30 seconds off the map for the Beast, that's enough to do Roshan with this heavy physical lineup.
And they can also then do Tormentor in 50 seconds as well. So,
Oh yeah.
pretty well positioned. These are going to be very efficient plays off of the physical damage minus armor.
ဒါပြီးရောက်နေအမြန်ရှင်းအမြန်ရှင်း
Your whole game revolve around the hero. He's going to be in your head. But you just want to play Dota. Like you want to
ဟုတ်ပြီဟုတ်ပြီလား
you want to accelerate the game,
ဒါဟမ်
punish his
ဘယ်
team.
ကောင်လာရဲလဲ
And yeah, there's this guy somewhere farming jungle. But it's not the end all be all. Like no hero 1v5s in the modern age of Dota 2.
Well, Satanic is going to put that claim to the test. No one, once again, just right next to tier 2s, tier 3s, knowing that, I mean, even if they could kill him, probably not even worth making your way that far back on the map. And that has gotten an Ags Phantom Lancer. So PL is the first step to kind of being online. Manta is like a farming item, but the Ags actually gives you something to work with.
Very nice item against the Clinks. A lot of extra damage in the fight. There's the Tormentor. Shard to the tree.
အ
Pretty
ပွန်း
nice
ကောင်း
here.
နေဒါပေမဲ့ပြီးရတော့အောက်ကွက်လောက်ဆိုစိုးတော့မှာဒါပေမဲ့ချက်ပြောင်းနေပါပါရင်တော့မစိုးဘူးဗျ
So some decent map control and some decent net worth advantage for BB to play with. Let's see what they can do with it during this Aegis period. Who they choose to hunt, who they can successfully hunt. Those are two very different things.
BB team has definitely done a better job of utilizing this Treant Protector than some of the other teams we've seen, right? Keeping their tier 1 towers, every single one of them up over 20 minutes against a Beastmaster in particular.
Yeah, you're going to defend this bottom tier 1 against the creeps. Take some more gold for themselves, plus 250. Kill that cannibal, keeps all your tier 1s alive, and that's another reason no one's just doing this back lane cutting. Like, if you have these tier 1 towers up, you have to accumulate some map pressure somehow. This is pretty nice for the team, abusing his invincibility. Will you run out of damage, though? There's a nice timing for BB where they're going to have a lot of sustain. Living Armor, Coddle Blast, Timber Regen already has a Lotus online. The Clinks can be pretty tanky. That's a lot of HP to get through.
Come back again. What is the game plan here if you're Katomi? You're going to bonk him, overgrowth him, maybe a crush, then a bash, and then that's the last of your disables.
You can sap some XP.
ကောင်းလာပြီနားမှာ suggest
Maybe they
လုံနေတော်တော်များပြီ
And move the overgrowth. Get the bash to chain it. Now
ကောင်းတယ်ကွာ chain stanley ပပလေးကို
holding on to the bash
ဟိုက
just for that extra
တိုင်ပင်
bit of
ပြည့်
time
သုံး
for
တာ
the Timbersaw to get there in time. They actually put it together this time.
And you know what? He dies because he also didn't have Yules on the courier. The courier got sniped by Kiritich earlier, so he's missing a lot of extra net worth.
Yeah.
Don't know if it bails him out there, but they probably made the play like he has no dispel in this situation. The Treen can set up. He's not just going to be able to Yules himself out of it instantly. Very nice read. Perfect execution.
No one was also part of the reason he was playing there. He had Illusion Rune in the bottle, right, which is a free dispel against Overgrowth. But he dies out right before Train Protector makes that play. Probably part of the reason Katomi made the call there.
No, the illusions are still cutting the wave, so I guess he's
Maybe do the by no.
Bear creep and maybe one more hit. Gold efficiency.
ဟိုမှလည်းလုံးပါအောင်
All right, start cutting into that dire side map.
ဟာ back shot 3လား back shot 5 back shot 3ထင်တယ်နော်
Laid out here.
e-sport က
Though
back shot
one of
3တွေ
these
ပဲလား
is going to expire soon, but they've got another one to try and protect Satanic and the farming at the top part of the map.
နောက်တစ်ခါတော့တီးပေးလိုက်မလား
No one again. Still doesn't have Yules. The courier almost gets crushed.
They're going to get some nice eyes in the forest down too. So this Vision game, it's going to be pretty brutal for P-Vision to play against this early on.
They're doing a nice job getting the wave cut going though. Like even this 9-class move up here is really annoying. Even if you kill him off of this, you don't feel great doing it. It's just delaying your push top. This tier 2, it's gonna get glyphed in fact.
And he sees the chase coming his way. The TP gets out before
အော်
GPK
နည်းနည်း
gets
လေး
the
တောင်းကြောက်ရ
crush.
တယ်ဟေး
Perfectly timed. That lets the Ember go into mid. It lets the beast creeps push in bottom. This forces TPs down to the bottom of the map out of BB. Not what they wanted for their starter to have to deal with this. And maybe you can look for a fight here. Your PL is still really farmed in this game. 300 last hits, no deaths.
And they just got the Blink Dagger on Dakalos. So if you, in your haste to try and like run down these heroes on the side of P-Vision, clump up too
Aegis
much.
power play နေဘာမရသေး
is
ဘူး
now
လုံးပါအောင်
available. Feel bad for GPK. He's just kind of wandering around looking for heroes, kind of blind smoking into areas, hoping he gets something. He actually might, not even off the smoke. Gets the stun onto no one. Of course, no one ready to jump to his remnant, but there is. Oh, Yule Scepter. They already had a sentry laid out. Gets him.
အဲ့ရတေးကြလို့လားအဲ့ရ AG ရှိရနော်ရအောင်
But it's an Aegis,
အဲ့
so
တေးကြလို့လား9 class အဲ့ဒါကိုပြောတာမင်းတေးကြလို့လားလို့
gets himself maybe killed though. Miro looks to run him down. Got the
Oh.
and now he's gonna try and juke it, but there's a blast him down with a blinding light.
That does a lot more damage than it used to.
လူပြပြပြပြပြပြ
BKB arriving for GBK down on that bottom gives you the confidence to go in there. There's the BKB for the Timber, so you're hitting a really nice timing here on the second half of this Aegis. You can still pressure some towers. You have to assume that P-Vision are going to dodge you for most of this game.
Yep.
Until there's an important enough objective where you can force the fight. And that's going to be your moment to group up and strike.
စိတ်ပူနေတယ်ဟိုကောင်နဲ့ဗတ်တယ်တပွဲလောက်နိုင်အတွဲလိုက်ကမ်းပတ်တော့မှာ
Cut some lanes of your own. Make some quick two-man play to kick people out of areas, but don't overcommit the whole squad.
If you're BB team, let's say you go through P-Vision successfully dodges you. You pick up a Roshan, you get the second Aegis. Are you going high ground with this Aegis? If you never find that pickoff, that is the obvious, okay, we can go high ground with this. Are you willing to go for a high ground push early on in a 5v5?
I think so. I think you can put the Clinks up there, let him siege it with the long attack range. He has living armor, you have Coddle, sustain. Like, you're not going to be able to
Fall out
outsmart
here,
him too
like,
easily here, unless you bring the PL back and he starts hitting him, in which case you can take that fight if you're tanking up.
They don't have any like scary repositioning tools
No.
or anything like that.
It's as good as it gets, honestly, in most games.
Nice pickup though. Got no one again. This time just between the Timbersaw and the Slardar.
Died in a crush bash duration. That's brutal for him. That changes a lot in terms of how aggressive he's going to be trying to cut these waves and get on BB's side of the map, which, by the way, you look at the vision. They've lost all vision on that side. So there's just not a lot to play off of here. You run up a ramp, you run into two heroes.
The amount of damage.
That is what the Timbersaw gives you. Kills anybody in Dota.
Yeah. And Flip Guard is no defense against those two heroes, so. Kiritich immediately taking advantage of this. A nice push through the bottom lane by himself. He can take the tier 2, but with the Siege Wagon, it's made just that little bit faster.
BB is really good at translating these kills into further objectives, further map control, or aggressive farming. Like, you never see them get a kill and run to their side of the map. And these little things that add up over the course of a game, over the course of a series, that build that gold lead. That
ရှင်
never
နွေး
comes
ချန်လားဆိုတော့ဟုတ်ပါတယ်ရှင်နွေးချန်မှာတစ်စိတ်ကတော့စားအဝက်ဗျ
You also got a lot
Scotland ထုတ်တာ
base, and that's even more valuable.
တစ်ဖက်ကြောက်က
Set up the next move here, get better vision out. Again, look at where the wards are on this for Dire on this map. There's 2 in the top river. You see nothing else, and you're playing against a Treant who's scouting with eyes in the forest early shard off the Tormentor.
Yep.
There's a lot of information advantage for BB right now in this game.
But at this rate, it's going to become a satanic 1v5 kind of game. Because he is the only
Maybe,
one
yeah.
out on the map getting farm. He is still keeping neck and neck with the Clinks, but they are 8,000 net worth behind.
I will say, if you're going to pick a hero to 1v5 in this meta, PL's one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Like, this hero can do it if it's the right setup. If he can start on, like, one of these supports or the Clinks with the charge in, a lot of illusion spawn, you start dealing damage, the fight becomes a lot more chaotic. That information doesn't count for as much on the side of BB.
ဒီတစ်ခေါက် Roshan လေးတော့ငါတို့ရအောင်ရမှာဖြစ်မယ်နော်
Bail out of this PL situation, or do we take the fight into him?
Right. Daedalus done. I mean, this Birdie Barrage is going to hurt.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of burst damage. You have Gunpowder Gauntlet on top of it. If Kirsich gets on the back line, I feel like the fight is almost over, no matter how strong the PL is. Yeah, there's a lot of Cloak of Flames in this game.
I just kind of want to see the damage test of him firing into a satanic horde.
A lot of greedies too.
How much could he actually? How much damage?
Miero
could he do to
ne.
real PL?
I think it's going to be underwhelming. That's
Yeah, I mean,
my gut read here. It sounds good on paper, and then when you fire, it,
GPG
they're not gonna land.
ဒီ Winter Weapon ကိုရှာပြီးမှရမှာမဟုတ်ရင်ဒီ Winter Weapon အဲ့ကလင်းနှောက်တာ
Satanic has a
ကလင်းကိုနှောက်လိုက်ရင်
here too.
ငါတို့တော်တော်ပြဿနာတက်သွားမယ်
he's got the armor, and if he's able to start the fight the right kind of way, he could just doppelganger.
အဲ့ကောင်နှောက်လို့မရအောင်အဲ့ကောင်နှောက်လို့မရအောင်အဲ့ဒီ Winter ကိုမဖြစ်မနေရှာရမယ်အဲ့ရှီဝါကတွေပါဖွင့်ပြီးရှာရ
On
မယ်
the map and be survivable right now. Clear some of these eyes, clear some of the wards. It's the Phantom Lancer. It's not the Ember anymore. This is normally a situation you would want to give the Ember the gem.
စာအဝက်လာတယ် Grand ရှိကြိုက်လာတယ်
Two cores sitting inside the Roshan pit,
အား Grand ရှိလေးချတယ်ကျွန်တော်ရင်တော့
begging, please.
စာအဝက်မတောင်းနိုင်အဲ့ Grand ရှိပဲချ
It's not going to happen. And in fact, you're going to have to wait a long time. It's going to be a late Roshan spawn, and it's going to be on the other side of the map. BB team are not going to be happy with that.
Opening for P-Vision. There's an amp damage up there as well. Alive for another minute or so.
Spot 9 class.
ဟာရောင်ရရအမုံကြည်သွားတယ်အမုံကြည်သွားတယ်ကလင်းကလင်းနဲ့ဒီမှာဇွန်နဲ့ဂျာညက်သွားတာနိုင်ကလေးအမုံကြည်သွားတယ်
Good thing he didn't have the gem. Just going to try and get the Beast, BKB, and the Ember Ags, and that's going to be your next window to teamfight here alongside potential Butterfly for the Phantom Lancer. That would be
Cherry
huge.
Gas ကိုကြည့်တာအဲ့ကောင်လည်းမစိုးဒါပေမဲ့ဒီကောင်ဈေးကိုတနေ့ကွာရောက်ပြီးစုံနေကြည့်လိုက်တာစာအဝက်နဲ့ဈေးသိမ့်မကွာဘူးဆိုလို့
Supports on the back line goes
တော့မှကွာ1000လောက်ပဲကွာတယ်ဆိုတော့စာအဝက်ပဲတောက်တော့မှာဟုတ် Grand ရွှေဘာလို့ချတော့မှာ
These two supports, they got a lot of extra farm from the early objective taking. They're pretty fat. Not easy supports to burst down.
And no doubt.
တိတ်တော့မကွာဘူးလားလို့ကျွန်တော်တစ်ခေါက်တောက်ဘူးလေထင်တယ်
Luxury item wise, as we've
တိတ်
already
ပြီး
got
ဟို
some
နေ
major
ရင်တော့ထူးခြားမနေပါဘူးဒီရွှေရတာပဲလား
Sector, rocking the Essence Distiller. He's going to get a Blink Dagger next. I'm still curious, like, say if he's got a Yule Scepter queued
အသစ်ထုတ်
up,
ထားတဲ့ဥစ္စာဟုတ်တယ်မလား
I do wonder when, like, it's inevitable, right? At some point, he's probably going to go with Scythe of Ice. It's just how early does he think it's necessary?
I think is where he kind of has to choose. A lot of times,
မြင်လိုက်လေမြင်လိုက်လေစိရဲ့အာမမြင်လိုက်ဘူး
committing to the Wind Waker pretty fast.
Yeah.
I think this is a game where it looks pretty juicy against the single Beast Roar, which is the only real stun you're worried about here.
Yep. And not really having that good of a nullifier hero.
ဟိုလေးပဲနည်းနည်းချင်းသွားတာဒီကောင်က
Really want to
ဟုတ်
build
တယ်
it. They probably will have to.
But you're not going to.
အဲ့အောင်ပြကြောင်းပြကြောင်း အဲ့ပြကြောင်းဟာငါတို့ကလင်နှောက်မှာလား
The PL. I would like the Wind Waker rush.
ချက်ကလေးပြောင်းလိုက်ရင်ကောင်းမယ်နော်တကောင်ကောင်တော့
I think it looks pretty juicy. They're going to give the
လိုက်တော့
advantage, level 20, and they're going to look for
အမေနိုင်ကလေး
Blink Crush there from GPK. He knows that their hero is somewhere down here, just wasn't sure exactly where. Wisps on the initiation, and all of P-Vision will scatter. Some teleport back, others will continue farming these neutrals and take the farm away from the Radiant side as much as possible.
Yeah, Roche cost you some net worth lead. That's how efficiently this PL is.
Butterfly အောင်အေးအဲ့ဒီတိုင်မင်းရတော့ကြောက်စရာကြီး Butterfly
He's going to probably apply to this Tormentor play, especially to Callis. What a play this would be.
Really hard to make
စီပါကလေးဖွင့်လိုက်ရင်ကောင်းမယ်နော်
Well,
We'll see what he can do.
He's gonna get
เอ้ตัวตีดาวโว้
Timber chained away from the Clinks.
The thing is, you have to go because you're gonna die at Tormentor there.
Yes, exactly right.
Shard will also go to the Timber here for a nice little flamethrower, nice spell in this game.
Some extra chip damage on these towers. Well, it's 11-3. We haven't had much action here, but BB Team is about to force the clash. They're up 7,000 net worth. Not an overwhelming advantage, but they
နည်းနည်းလေးနောက်ဆုတ်ပါအောင်နောက်ဆုတ်ပါအောင်ဘော်ဒါပေါင်းတင်းတွေကိုခဏစောင့်ပါအောင်
Satanic is going to try and put this Clinks to the test, and yeah, that burning
အဲ့ဒါကိုပြောတာပေါင်းတင်းတွေကိုစောင့်ပါအောင်ဆိုတာဥပမာ GPK တကောင်နဲ့ကြွတော့မယ်
try and deal with him.
အေးစေတန်းနေပြတ်ပြီလားဟာမပြတ်သေးဘူးတစ်ချက်တစ်ချက်သုံးလေးချက်အာပလိုင်းอ่ะမစ္စတာချနေတယ်ဂျိုင်းရှိပါ
That's huge. You can reset, heal, come back into this fight right now.
ရနောက်ခဏစုံမယ်နောက်ခဏစုံမယ်ကရတေနောက်ခဏစုံမယ်
Few more seconds till Satanic can join the fight again, and they just take the one building and out. So a tier
အဲ့ကောင်တင်ပြီးသွားပြီအဲ့ကောင်တင်ပြီးသွားပြီ
set here now.
There were a lot of things that were close to swinging that fight one way or the other. You had the all-in attempt on the Slardar when GBK went in with the BKB. You get roared and you're getting focused down, but he barely lives. The Ember commits not enough to finish him off going into the overgrowth. Then you had this battle between the PL and the Clinks, which is always going to be super PL favored. But we saw at the end, if you can kind of isolate him in some weird situation, get some hits in, you have the single target burst to bring him down. No question about it.
Miro's got a heart almost finished up.
Oh, he's massive.
Man, he's just getting exist on this front line.
I don't know what you do to him in this game. He's going to be the hardest target for P-Vision to interact with.
Yeah, Phantom Lancer doesn't really interact
Yeah,
with
wow,
him.
man,
He's
no,
just
Miero,
maxing out
he-
his reactive armor stacks. He's going to have so much armor there. Ember's not doing enough magic damage early on. Spirit Vessel was an answer, but we saw that Ember was too far behind, Timber was too far ahead.
ဒါရ
You just don't
ကာတူမီလောက်ကတီးတာရှော့မရှိ
It's not going to end well for you. There's going to be a blinding light. There's going to be an overgrowth.
တွေ့ပြီနိုင်ကလက်ကိုတွေ့ပြီတီးလိုက်မယ်အားရအောင်စေ့ကိုရင်မိသွားတယ်ဟာ
Good opening.
Really quick execution. Now Satanic hunting for more.
အေးအေးအဲ့ဒီဒူကားလက်ကိုအရင်
He's gonna be
ကြည့်
terrorized up very heavily.
BKB ရ
Help him out where he can.
ပြေးပြေးပြေး BKB BKB TP BKB TP
And they can't get away from
အာ TP မရှိဘူးလစ်ပြီဗော TP မရှိတော့
Trying to death pact, heal his way up. He turns around, knows there's no escape. He goes after Notice. It's not nearly enough damage. And now it's just Miro left alone against 3 different cores. Exactly
ရဲတို့
the way
ရုံးမှဖြစ်မယ်နော်
your P-Vision, you
အားကောင်း
drew
ပြီ
it up. Ignore Miro. Kill everyone else.
A perfect team fight from them. The PL gets to stick on all the targets he wants to. You get a gem out of that.
ဒီ
as
ပါ
well.
ရင်မိသွားလို့ပါ
And
Huh?
swift
Hang on,
damage
why?
coming out from Satanic here. This is the Phantom Lancer problem. This is the Timbersaw matchup in a nutshell. Like, you're just stuck trying to chase him and deal damage. But with this Axe, he's a lot more mobile than he used to be. He can get onto targets and deal the burst damage a lot faster. I mean, look at how fast he cleans up GPK here. Like, you get feared, and you're just gone. Even got the BKB off, doesn't matter. And now you're just instantly onto the Clinks. No way Kirchich can stand his ground here. Has no shot of fighting back. What's Miro supposed to do? I mean, he's just trying to land as many spells as he can, but this is where I go to. You needed a game plan for this Phantom Lancer over the long run. To me, it has to be Hex control, like a bunch of Wind Wakers, some ability to save your backline when he gets there. But there's got to be something, because otherwise he does reign supreme in these fights. I don't think the Timbersaw can output enough
ကာ
damage.
တူမီကပြာကြောင်းနဲ့ထိုးတော့မယ်
He's still not going Hex.
Yeah. What do you think about, I mean, it's a long ways away here. But level 25 Slardar, how much does that change things? If you can Blink Crush, you hit the Phantom Lancer, it's no longer dispellable.
It's big for sure, as talent always changes the game.
But then, like, who follows up that damage? Right? Like, because Clicks has shown that it's not even close. He can't stand his ground at all. Burning Barrage doesn't do nearly enough damage to clear out these illusions, let alone the hero itself.
I think it will come down to which team starts the fight in the way they want. Right? Which team gets onto the back line faster.
GPK almost executing 9 class, tries to finish him off there, managed to get the blink away after the Shadow Realm into the trees. He found him,
No bash.
but he didn't have the bash.
A nice escape for him. BKB down for the Slardar. Some more space.
7 ကြီးရရနေနည်းနည်းကြာသွားတယ်
in this game.
A slight change, even a momentary pause there, lets them snag the haste rune away from Miro.
P-Vision feeling a lot more comfortable now after that last fight. They're like, all right, yeah, this PL, he's going to do some work in this game. We just need to play around him, assassinate supports, and Satanic will have enough space in the fight to clean everybody up.
All right, I'm gonna try and find more solutions to Phantom Lancer. Clinks has Searing Arrows multi-shot. With Burning Army?
He does have it. I don't disagree with that. I don't think it's going to change the matchup.
ကဲမြေတို့
Keep
အေး
trying, Austin.
မင်းကိုပဲအားကိုးရမှာဘာနန်းနန်းသာကိုတော့ကလင်းကတော့နိုင်ဖို့ကတော့မဖြစ်နိုင်ဘူးမင်းကနောက်ကလိုက်ပစ်ထားတဲ့ကောင်ဆိုတော့မင်းထောက်မှရမှာ
Almost got an Octarine and level 25 for Miro. Shiva's done for no one, which just makes him all the more slippery. Because again, they don't have the most disables, and those limited disables, they have to pump a lot of physical damage into Ember Spirit. Him having this 17 plus armor item, it's going to do wonders for him. You can see P-Vision are just saying, all right, BB team, you have to end the game on us. We won that fight, didn't actually take any objectives really off of it. They still have this mid-tier 1 tower up at 37 minutes.
I will say you kind of are hitting Satanic's prime right here. He's going to fill this last gem slot with something big, probably the Bloodthorn, just to maximize his damage output. And then I do think you want to start to take control of this game. If it goes to 60 minutes plus, PL gets
Okay, Banning Army
issues
ပါလာပြီ
just because everybody gets so tanky and they
ပလိုက်နေပါပြန်မကြိုက်ဘူးလားမ
you're
သိဘူး
playing
နော်
against a bunch of hard Octarine
ပြီးရ
heroes.
မင်းခုံရင်လည်း
And there's Wind Wakers and Hexes. and
Misstep
the
ပါ
game
သူ
can get really weird for you.
Okay, is this a real concern or is this 60 minutes games get weird concern? Like, do you actually think they wouldn't be favored late game?
I think it is a soft concern, you know?
Okay.
It's like in the back of your mind. You're not
Okay,
going to
so you still
overthink
think
it.
they're favored in the late game, but Miro gets his Timber Chain talent. And we're just back to farming. And that farm is not really going any direction one way or the other. We're just stuck at a very minimal 4,000 net worth lead for BB team. They're going to wait for another Roshan, another opportunity to head to high ground. And with that Aegis,
Divine.
Kiritich might just buy into a Divine,
He's
which
thinking about it.
I'm tempted to agree with him there.
I'm down. Especially if you get the next Roshan, just buy the Divine.
ပေါ်
and
သေးတာ
send
ဗော
it. See what happens. You got tanky frontliners. You've got a bunch of sustain. I think it's the right item for that situation if you find yourself there to just try and end the game.
Once again, BB team's preference. They're on this dire side corner here with control of the outpost, but Roshan, it's going to be a little bit longer one. And once again, it's going to be on the Radiant side. Kiritich is actually going to try and backdoor. With the Burning Army laid out, Glyph is going to
ရပြီ 40 ရပြီ
nice move.
Definitely don't want to have to come back to deal with skeletons here. It's kind of a waste of time for everybody on the side of P-Vision.
Yeah, this could be a window to work with. They get this next Roshan. If they push pretty quickly, then that Glyph will still be on cooldown.
They've had some really unlucky Roche spawns.
Yeah, the longer Roshes are definitely not for them.
Rough out here. Did hit 25 on the Timber. That's also a nice.
ဒီမှာဆိုရတော့ပြည့်
Try
ပြီ
and help him
item
keep up with the peel because he's not dying as Phantom Lancer. It would take a lot of stun committal. They do have Nullifier on notice. They did end up going for it, just kind of preemptively countering anything, making sure that this roar gives you the full control you need from it. And who you decide to roar, it's kind of a big deal.
ကဲဟက်ကြပြီဆိုစလာတာကလည်းတိတ်တော့လင်းတော့မတိတော့ဘူးထင်တယ်ခုနကလိုတော့
Satanic. It's such a massive upgrade.
Oh yeah, biggest damage item for sure in this game.
You combine that with your level 25 with the Doppelganger, just it feels like it's always up. No, worse than it used to be. Didn't it used to be? It went down to like a 4-second cooldown.
With the talent, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was 4 or 5.
Now it only goes down to 6-second cooldown. But
Phantom Lancer players crying everywhere about their 6-second doppel. What a shame.
ရောင်
They are ready to just push it
ခဏလိုက်
straight.
တက်လာပြီရောက်နေ
Satanic on the front line has not died this game. I'll tell you, when you're in these Phantom
ဒါ
Lancer
သူတို့နဲ့
games
တော့
and he has
အဲ့
a
ဒါ
weapon,
ဆိုရင်တော့တင်းပါဆိုလဲ
that's just
ပြတ်တယ်ဟာ
in your mind. You're like, oh no. Please let me find him once. They're gonna try and get the.
initiation on Miro, and they don't really have much saves here. They've got the
ဟုတ်ပြီ
That's the best they have.
နည်းနည်းပြေးလိုက်မယ်
From Timber chaining away.
နည်းနည်းပြေးလိုက်မယ်လိုတက်အော်နဲ့ ပြန်လျှော့သွားပြီ
And Katomi's gonna die as well, so it's
နည်း
gonna
နည်း
be
နည်းပတ်လိုက်နည်းနည်းပတ်လိုက်
support here.
Sick overgrowth to bail him out. He's dead 100% there.
Yeah.
You can free some space to get the BKB off, remove that Orchid Slash Bloodthorn damage. It's going to be a big item to think about in this game. You don't want to let Satanic get in there, Bloodthorn you, and have that Soul Rend pop. It's going to be a huge burst.
It's going to be very important that Miro, or rather Save, can play around Miro to, be there for that exact play.
He went for the second Lotus Orb over the Hex, so recognizing you need to be able to bail your heroes out of this single target initiation. Then we can play the rest of the fight. Trying to force the Roshan a little bit. They're going to poke the Timber. Don't want to commit to him without Roar or that Winner's Curse. Missing too many ults right now to force the fight straight up.
အာ
No one checking inside the pit. And Kiritich has made the call. He wants to push out this bottom lane. He does not want to take this
Smoke lavi,
short
smoke
5-on-5
lavi,
around this Roshan pit. Doesn't want to risk it.
အဲ့လိုကြီးမရဘူးထင်တယ်တော့ကလင့်
Down to this bottom lane, which is already naturally going to push in thanks to creeps. He just has
မင်း
to
တကယ်ချင်းနေမင်းကိုစောင့်နေမှာ
It's going to show though, and the smoke is coming through from P-Vision. This gives you a green light to start the fight. You know the Clinks isn't there. Even if he's going to wrap bottom, the fight is more important.
Atomi's going to be the one to break the smoke here. They try and find him. They do
အာ
manage to
ကာ
get
တို
him
မီ
off the
ရှော့ပေးလိုက်ရ
He
ပြီ
has a line back to work with. The Clinks is not backing up. I thought he was going to show it immediately come back. Miro goes in. He does get roared immediately here. Lotus going to help.
ရပြီတော့နည်းနည်း GPK
He's trying to get away from this Phantom Lancer as best he can, but it's too tough.
ဟုတ်တယ်ပြေးမယ်ရထား အာရှော့ရတယ်လို့
And they got him. Meanwhile, the Clinks is already cleaned up the melee. Barracks is now going for the tier 3 in the mid lane. It's a full-out split push from Kiritich, who's now going to BKB TP out. After forcing teleports, he is away. Back over that mid lane. Winner's Curse laid down to Miro. The Chaco laid out.
အော်အပင်ဒီကုန်သွားတယ်နည်းနည်းပြန်အောင်
But the Timber Chain is just as far.
အိုး
He goes down.
ကောင်း
Perfect Timber.
တော်ပြီလို့
Only tree there.
A massive
ဘာလို့အဲ့လောက်မှန်းနေတာလဲ
now put himself pretty deep here against his Phantom Lancer. It's scary. The Bloodthorn goes out. BKB plus the Lotus.
Might have to TP here.
Timber Chain is up. He makes his long jump.
စီကတီးရတော့မှာပဲတော်သေးတယ်ဟမ်အဲ့အောင်ကျွန်းလိုက်ချုပ်လိုက်မလား
Clinks is back.
ချုပ်လိုက်မလားလို့
Start putting damage on Satanic. Gives
much
you a bad health. He does manage to doppelganger away.
ဟုတ်ပြီ
Miro goes in once again. Pops his Lotus. But now the Bloodthorn is big overgrowth.
Ô, bà Gro, ô, mà.
Miro doing lots of
ရှော့သွားပြီသူ့ရဲ့ Bloodthorn နဲ့ပြန်ရှော့သွားတာ
Bloodthorn him. The Lotus Sword bounced back the Bloodthorn and ends up killing him. Satanic. Now that he's down, an opening presents itself. BB team.
ရမီရဲတို့အဲ့ကောင်က
Out of remnants.
အဲ့ကောင်ထိန်းလို့မရတော့ဘူးမီရဲတို့အဲ့ကောင်ထိန်းလို့မရတော့ဘူး
Miro's just an absolute monster, and he's taking them all down one by one.
Triple kill for the big raid boss in this game. It was going to be a question of who dies first, the Phantom Lancer or the Timber, because that is what these fights are coming down to. And boy, that Timber, he had a lot more help with the Lotus Orbs behind him. They paid off big time in this game. Absolutely correct item decision call from Save. I mean, he bailed him out like 2 or 3 times there. The overgrowths were huge as well. This is where the focus matters a lot.
Be a bang, yeah.
Through these fights and who you're
The land you, man.
the utility for. BB, they understood it in this game. It's about this last pick Timbersaw. It's about keeping Miro alive, and he will win you the long fight eventually. Did he overstep here?
To overstep.
အော်ကောင်းလိုက်တဲ့လူတက်အော်ကွာအမရိုက်စမ်း
So they can kind of play off of this one.
တော်ပြီ
Of course,
တော်ပြီ
the
ရ
call to that bounce back, just like he
တော်ပြီ
did.
တော်ပြီခဏလောက်ပတ်လိုက်မယ်ခဏလောက်ပတ်လိုက်မယ်
It's another lane of racks, though, from some of the Clinks damage getting the glyph out earlier. BBR they're just outplaying him here in these late game team fights.
And there's still a Roche to be taken. He's going to buy out the accent on Kiritich. Grab this Roche, grab this Aegis. And there is still the thought of the Divine Rapier.
Honestly, the pressure Kiritich put on P-Vision in this entire sequence was beautiful because this Clink's just entering the fight straight up against the Lancer. It doesn't feel great, but you got him to TP back, you put some pressure on the buildings, and this
Bà Gro
was
gì vậy con à?
huge. Satanic could not get out of it, then he got embraced as you're kind of saying like, oh, are you going to be able to get out of that, are you not? And then the reflection with the Lotus Orb, it all came together here.
I mean, what a call. Kiritich, like he
Refresh
called,
out.
like 2
cái pin dù
minutes
bị
before
làm
the
con
fight
là
happened, right? They were having a standoff around Roshan. He said, I'm going to push out bottom. And then you said it, right? He showed BB team's going to do something, and I thought, oh, Clinks is going to teleport back to the outpost.
That's what I thought. He just committed.
And he just committed. He sent it down that bottom lane, said, I'm going to take your buildings. You have to come back. Created the opening BB team needed. Now they're up 19,000 net worth. 1 lane of barracks left to Mega Creeps. They're just going to send it down this top lane. Looks like instead of a Divine, it's going to be a Nullifier for Kiritich.
Wants to put more pressure on the back line here. Get through that Ghost Scepter Wyvern, potentially.
Level 25 for the Beastmaster is picked up alongside a nullifier that he's rocking. Does he go the Wild Axis cooldown for the spam while you're sitting on the high ground?
Yeah, he takes it.
It's the choice.
ဩမီဂါယူလိုက်တာကောင်းတယ်ရမ်းမတိုင်းနဲ့ရမ်းမတိုင်း
Going pretty long. You got to
နဲ့
get through these tanky
discipline
boys. There's a lot
ရှိ
of
ရှိကစားမယ်
HP
အား
and
တို့က
slowly grind your way through in this game.
Satanic gonna go back for a defusal. These long fights, I don't really blame him here. It would be nice to just burn out some resources. Inhibitor.
That does cost him a buyback.
ကဲပါအောင်ကူအောင်ကဲပါအောင်ကဲပါဦးလီဘော်တင်အေးတွေးတွေပါဖြစ်ပြီးဥမာမြောက်အဲ့မှာကောင်းနေမြောက်ကြီးအထောင်းကြီးကလုံးဝအင်းရောင်
Stuck inside the gate. He's got to go all the way around. That just means
ဒီ
he's
ကညက်သွားကြီး
completely isolated. Miro to the rescue. Trying to
ရောင်အေးအဲ့ဝင်တာခတ်ကြီးကတော့စီ
go for the kill on GPK, who's still trying to get out. They finally give him the
အဲ့ဝင်တာခတ်ကြီးကတော့စီပဲလို့
Miro's on the one on the front lines, and he's okay for
ပြော
now.
အမှာ
And in fact, it's
ထည့်လိုက်
Gonzalez and Notice are
ချောင်းတော့
getting so low. Satanic has to go back to the fountain as well, and the buildings are open for the taking. Kiritich gonna claim Megas here. P-Vision, they may be
4v5 ဟိုကဘိုင်ဘက်တွေမရှိဘူးရအောင်ငါတို့
They don't even want to
အဲ့
let this out
ဒီပါခေါ်ပလိုက်တယ်ဟာပါလဲဟာ
Did not have enough firepower in the tank. These heroes are just too tanky. 5,000 HP tree and stomping on your racks. I guess that's one way to end game one. I thought they were going to have a lot more trouble as this PL got to his peak, but that's where I said this game keeps going later and later. Like PL does not 1v5 in Dota anymore. No matter how good of a game it is, heroes become too tanky, they're too online. Those fights were razor thin margins though. If Miro dies on some of those all-in plays,
ဒီမှာဆိုတော့ဘာလို့ကံထည့်ရလဲဆိုတော့ဟိုကကြံမှာ nullifier ပါလို့လေ nullifier နဲ့ဆိုတော့စတာ
game swings wildly. So
ထည့်လို့မရ
an incredibly thin margin of execution for BB team. I think you're very happy with the win. I think you're like, we played really well in that game, but I also think
ဒီ
you
ရင်
come out of
လေး
that
တော့
game
ပေါင်း
and
နေ
be
ပြီ
like,
လား
I don't know if we want to have that thin of a margin to decide those fights. You know, let's create a little more wiggle room in the draft.
အဲ့လို last page ကြီးနဲ့ပြန်ပြီးရိုက်ခွဲသွားတာဟုတ်
And he was cruising
Ah,
through
yeah.
those fights when it lined up for him, but damn, what a Timbersaw performance.
ငါတို့ off lane နာလဲအဲ့လို last page ပြီးကျန်းနေဆိုတော့ BB ကပြလိုက်တယ်ဗျ
The team
နည်းနည်းတော့
game. Oh, so
Game 2
so
ကတော့
much
ပြန်လာနိုင်မလားကြည့်ရမယ်
You said this all the time in this tournament and previous tournaments. You talked about how it's so important when it comes to drafting and you're playing inside the game that you all
ပြော
understand
ရင်အခုပစ်ထားတဲ့ keeper of the light
what are the key heroes that you're going to go for.
ဘာပုံကထပ်ပစ်မှာပဲ
Timbersaw, and you saw whether it was Saber Katomi and the item builds, right? Save keep picking up that Lotus, a great example. They always made sure to
အဲ့ကြရင်ပြီးမစားတို့ဘာကိုဘန်းမှာလာကြည့်ရမယ်
GK jumping in at times to try and bail out Miro in very key moments.
That's what matters.
They all understood that Timbersaw was this way.
okay ဒီကောင်လေးကိုစောင့်ရင်းနဲ့အများတို့ပြရမယ့်ကိစ္စတွေရှိတယ်အားမို့ custom game ဆော့ပြမယ် custom game ဆော့ပြမယ် ရင်တွေးရှိနေတာတင်တယ်မူးနေလို့လေသတိထားအောင်တော့ကျမ်းမာရေးတိတ်မကောင်းအသက်ကြီးပြီဆိုတော့ယောဂပေါ်အားတွေကနည်းနည်းစုံတယ်ဒီနေ့ရေးခရီးကိုရှေ့ကြီးသွားမှာညတနားရီခွဲထိသွားမှာညတနားရီခွဲကျရင်လည်းစပိန်နဲ့အာဂျင်တီနာရှိတယ်ဆိုတော့ပပချင်းပုတ်သွားရမယ်ဒါလည်းဝုန်းတိုင်းအုံဝင်သွားလို့မရအောင်မူးသွားမယ်မီးတွေတော့ထမင်းတွေတော့ချွေပြီးစားနေရတယ်ယူ2လား3လားမသိဘူးရှိုးလိုက်အောင်ယူ2ဆိုရင်တော့ခဏနေတော့ပိုက်ကြည့်ပြပေးရမယ်ယူ5 sorry view 5ဒါ3လားမသိ view 5 view 5ဆိုတော့ AC ပါလူ9931လောက်တော့အနည်းဆုံးသွားမှာပဲ ကာစတန်ဟီရို chaos ထင်တယ်စပဲတွေကိုကကိုယူပြီးဆော့တာထင်တယ်ဆော့တယ်အဲ့ဒါလေကျွန်တော်ငယ်တော့အရင်ကျွမ်းနေနေရဟာလောင်းရတာလေဟုတ်တယ်မလားရန်သူတွေချနေတယ်လောင်းပြီးအိုက်တန်ယူလို့ရတယ် sorry အရင်က sorry ကျွန်တော်ဆိုရင်စပဲကောင်နဲ့တက်မယ်ဆိုတာများတယ်ကယ်ရီဟိုသူတို့ကတော့စစ်တွေဟိုဘောလုံးတိုင်းနေတယ်မစော့ကျင်ပြင်းလို့ကိုလောင်းတဲ့ကောင်ဂျက်ပေါက်ပေါက်သွားရင်ဆောင်းပျော်ရတယ်100ဘူးလောက်ထည့်ပြီးမှ1000လောက်ရတာတွေပါ 哎呀，ဟုတ်တယ်ဆမ်မွန်နေလဲစိတ်ဒုက္ခပေးလို့ကောင်းတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့နောက်ဆမ်မွန်နဲ့တခါလေး AFK ပြီးတော့ဆမ်မွန်မထုတ်မရင်ရှုံးသွားတယ်ဗျကျွန်တော်အဲ့လိုကြုံဘူးတယ်ဆမ်မွန်ကောင်နေဆောင်းရတော့ကျန်းတယ်သလားအော်တာဟိုအော်တာလေးတစ်ချက်တက်ပြီးတော့ YouTube မှာတချင်းတွေပါတော့ပြောလာလဲလာဟိုကိုကောင်ဟိုမှာ boss တီးတာခံလိုက်ရတယ်အဲ့လိုမျိုးတွေ ရော့ကွာမင်းစာအုပ်ပါယူမင်းတအားကျန်းနေကြတယ် 哎呀ဒီကောင်တစ်ကောင်နဲ့လည်းပဲတင်ရမှာလားတင်ကွာရှုပ်တယ်ရော့ဟေဟေရောရအောင်တိုက်ထည့်ယူတာတင်လို့ရမင်းကိုကုန်တင်ပေးမယ်အင်းဘကဟာဘာဖြစ်တာလဲမသိဘူးဗျအားမနိုင်တော့ဘူးပေါ့ဆက်နိုင်တယ်那刚那天修不哦，咋修啊？一通要一米二五，现在前面八的收入啊？呀，现在还有月了，那个远，哎，这个呢，这边那上啊，边哎，那明显比来嘛啦，还有点低洼所以。
here.
Biết không? Để về sau lì pi lên. Ấy ở đâu cơ? Để về sau lì pi lên. Cái pi vô. Thắt tiền này. Ôi à.เข้าดอกแคนไล่อะเฮ้ยเลเวล3เลยရောက်ပြီဟာလဲရှမန်ယူမှာပေါ့สู้တဲ့မာစီထိုးတဲ့အောက်မှာတော့ငါးကောင်လုံးရှော့စီအန်တကောင်ပဲယူလိုက်ရတယ်ဘာတော့မလုပ်လိုက်ရ ဟောဝင်ရနာလူတွေပါပြစ်နေတယ်လုံးဟာ ဤသားလမ်းတွေပါထိုးထည့်ပေးထားတာ Wow. Yeah. Cô ra tay với con thú quay lại
To me, where it's like they're focusing on themselves rather than trying to address what BB team is doing. Like they drafted quite reactively in the first game. We talked about how they stole the beast and then they're picking the Ember anyway. Like here's like, okay, we have our invoker strats, we're going for it and we'll cover the angles, but they're pretty much dismissing the draw at this point.
အဲ့ဒီကအင်ဘောကပစ်ပြီးလုံးထူးနဲ့ AGC ပေးတာဟုတ်တယ်မလား
has kind of been quiet, not versus P-Vision. P-Vision have this hero banned against them consistently in the first phase. It's SF and Drow that are never given away. So Vivi had an idea that they were going to take it away and play it themselves. And they've looked good on it as well. Both of their Drow games this tournament were wins.
3ရဲ့
But I don't
drawing
think
ညာ
it'll be
မရှိ
over
တော့
in
ဘူး
first phase,
တက်စ
so
ကား
I'm pretty curious what approach P-Vision will take because Notice likes to play gap close offlaners. Dawnbreaker is one of his specialty heroes that other offlaners aren't doing. And it's something you can comfortably play against the Drow range.
carry first pick
Yeah, it's been banned very frequently against him, the Dawnbreaker, but it seems like BB team isn't really worried about that hero. They just let it through, so they're
Separate ပစ်မလား
surely they know that he's gonna be thinking about this hero. Darcy would have been the second or the first option. That's not obviously an option anymore. So yeah, Dawnbreaker would make a lot of sense. I think it's also pretty good with Invoker. At some point, the map becomes just hard to play, and the lanes also become hard to play because you have this Invoker that is pretty much dominating the mid lane, chipping at your tier 1 tower with Forge Spirits, with Meteor Hammer, and there's a Dawn ulti. It's just really hard to go on him and to kick him out of that area.
Here's a support that is still in the pool that I'm questioning why it wasn't picked instead of the Hoodwink, because I've been told Bane is a very great pairing together with the Invoker.
Yeah, it's been banned also in the first game. I believe it was banned by P-Vision. They were banning the Kataomi Bane, so it's up for grabs for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, BB need their melee support for this Drow. Since they first picked her, they might not be able to do a double ranged, like a Clockwork or a Tusk, because Undying is taken out of the pool.
Handy Kelly,
Maybe
yeah,
that
man,
was
no,
very
but
cool hero
Mongleo.
against Invoker in that early game as well.
Yeah, Bane maybe a
Invoker
little bit worse
midfield,
against
yeah.
Invoker also, so not as good as an option. Yeah, it doesn't look like the best Bane game. They could maybe still go for it just because it's Kataomi's comfort, like probably one of his best, if not his best hero. But the lane isn't ideal, as mentioned. That's an early Earth Spirit. I mean, I guess GPK sees the mid matchup. I'm quite surprised because a lot of teams answer to Earth Spirit have been Invoker. Like I'm thinking of Team Liquid, for instance. They lost a couple games early on in the tournament, and then Nisha decided, yeah, just pick me Invoker versus Earth Spirit, I'll be fine. So different approach and different take, I guess, on the matchup for BB team. Because I don't think we're going to see a save Earth Spirit. This really doesn't. I'd be quite
5-1
surprised.
fight
I've
out
never
to
seen
that.
it, basically. I'm sure the guy is mechanically good enough to play any Dota hero, but most likely a GPK Earth Spirit, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, if Darkseer isn't in the picture, support Earth Spirit is half the hero. I mean, unless you're willing to play lanes like Viper or Enigma from that offlane, I do
Handy.
think this is a GPK
But
Earth
that's
Spirit.
5.5.
And I think that Invoker
Okay,
is
2.
an answer in the lane, but not necessarily through the game. I do feel that Earth Spirit out-rotates him, and he's a very natural BKB buyer. That's like his second or third item usually, and once he hits that timing,
You know,
Invoker
Bane
can
may be
play
better.
against it very easily.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. They go for the Bane anyway. I think I like the pick, to be honest.
Uh-huh. Rupit.
It's not ideal, but
Who
I
in
think
position
it's
fighter?
very high synergy with Earth Spirit. Great hero in the hands of Kataomi. I think the lane also is pretty much unbeatable. Like Bane draws, like these are probably two of the strongest laners in their positions. Even if it's not
ကြ
very
ည့်ရတာ
synergetic
စစ်ဟူဝင်
play,
ပြစ်မှာဆိုလို့ဟူဝင်
just the stats and the
When
nature of the
two are
scrolls, you
here.
can't really win that lane. We're gonna see save the 9 class, sorry, Rubik in a really good Rubik game. I mean, just Bane is enough to make it a good Rubik game. So in that sense, you know, you're always happy to grab that hero. We've seen some questionable Rubik picks. I don't think this is one of them. Like Rubik Centaur is a very strong lane, and they have Sunstrike on top of it. So this lane is a menace, and it's going to make up for the weakness of Rubik in the first 3 to 4 minutes of the game.
I do wonder, though, Seb, like looking at this Drow plus Bane, is this lane strong enough to play against Centaur plus Hoodwink? I mean, Drow lanes are very hard to play against, but typically you have this melee hero that can absorb for you. And I think Centaur plus Hoodwink are going to have a lane where
Lago.
they can farm.
I think the concept is that Bane acts as a melee hero
Corner.
because he's just so tanky. Like this hero has so much stats
Lago
and so
corner.
much armor as a range that he's kind of a melee hero. With Brain Sap, he's just standing there. To me, like in order
Position
to
4
beat
let's
Bane
spin,
on
no?
the lane, you have to-
Sport let's
you
spin,
have to
shadow,
feel
shadow.
potential in him, and it's up to the mind game between the 5 and the 4. It's like, does Bane have a Fairy Fire? Do you have your Blood Grenade ready? It's all about assessing, does Bane die, yes or no? Because if you go on him and you throw your spells on him and he doesn't die, this is when this draw is just gonna have the chillest time in the world, and all of a sudden, draw is level 3. She's been untouched for the first 4 waves. She got a lot of denies, and the lane is over. So playing against Bane is all about knowing if you can kill him or not, and obviously being a good Bane player is all about knowing whether you die or not, and playing off the limits.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And Katami's been a great Bane, but my heart is not feeling good about BB teams.
Let's see.
Their draft. It's just because I look at Hoodwink plus Centaur. Centaur with Retaliate is already more comfortable versus Drow than a lot of other melee offlaners. Hoodwink, I do feel out-trades Bane, especially if you factor in the Sunstrikes, which are the first pick. So you think this Bane Drow, they're not playing versus 2, they're playing versus 3 with this Invoker. There are 2 stuns. I feel like if Bane messes up at any point, he's dead, and then Drow's kicked out of the lane.
I I mean, there's a lot of cool enabling for the Sunstrike. That's true. They have stuns all over the place, and this is really what you want when you play Invoker mid. And because at the end of the day, you first pick Invoker, you know you're gonna get counter picked, and the matchup might not be the best. Like GPK is gonna have a couple denies on him, maybe more than a couple. We've seen it last game. But as long as no one is able to secure Sunstrike kills around the map, he'll be super happy.
Respect paid to Satanic's Meepo. Banned out together with the
Akimeပဲပြင်မယ်ထင်ပါတယ်
P-Vision, we're still looking for a hero for Satanic.
Yes.
ပါရီပင်ရှင်အနေနဲ့
And we haven't mentioned something important, which is the Earth Spit Largo combo.
အော်
I feel like
စန်တော့ရတယ်
Largo
initiate
really
ပုံစံ
excels
ဆော့မှာမဟုတ်ဘူးပြာကြောင်းတွေပါနေ fan မှာဆိုတော့ Akime
damage,
က
you know, mid-hero
တေကာတွေပါနေ
We've seen it a lot
Radiant တက်ကနေ
with
ရွှတ်
Largo
ရွှတ်
as,
ထိကဝင်
you know, follow
နောက်ကနေ
up
ဟူဝင်း
in
တို့
this
ပါတော့
meta.
ပတ်ကတ်လိုက်
We've seen it with Ember Spit, with Earth Spit. Like this scales immensely in the late game.
အော်ဟူဝင်းနဲ့ဆိုတော့
Looking
Spectre တို့
forward
ပါ
to
တော့လည်းပစ်လို့မ
see
ကောင်း
how
သူ့ lane တွေက
P-Vision is going to address that, 'cause the
Laning
scaling of
strong
one
နဲ့
team, I
ကယ်ရီ
have
ကို
to
ပြန်
say, is
ပြီး
pretty
ကြည့်မယ်ဆို
worrisome.
Akime ရှိမယ်
With Ranger and this Earth Spit being buffed
ပြီး
by
လို့ရှိရင်
Largo.
ဘာရှိမလဲ
Satanic, obviously, he has a late pick in the draft. He's going to try to cover that.
ထုံးတူတူပါတော့လည်းမရှိတော့ဘူး
But he has a big job to do.
He does. I do think an early pipe on
Spectre
Sunstrike
တော့ ban
can
တော့
go
မန်း
very
နေတယ်
well with
Bane တို့
while
ပါ
Drow
တော့
is
တဲ့
still getting ready to fight
နော်
because
laning state မှာ
Earth Spirit is the main source of damage until Drow is activated, and it's purely magical, especially with Largo. He's joining in with magic damage, and ES plus Largo, they take incredibly long fights. They don't win these fights in a few seconds. Like, we're talking fights that go up to 30 seconds. And so it's about kiting, disengaging, going back in. And the in and out of BB team is just the Earth Spirit for me right now. Whereas with P-Vision, they can disengage with Stampede. They're probably going to have their supports with kiting abilities. They're going to have this Invoker resetting with his spells.
So do you want the last
Sabano
pick
ba
for
wa
BB
le
team
pit
to
ma kaung
also
ba.
carry
Bane
a
ya
little
de chat.
more of a punch, a little
Bane
bit
so
of
kai
action
lan
for
lit
the
on ma.
last pick?
Some freedom, some motion to go in and out.
Is that enough motion and freedom? It is,
Oh, no.
after
Wow.
all.
I guess that's his
Ranger
Wind
win.
Ranger,
Laning
right?
strong.
Like,
Yeah.
This is like his specialty at this point. I mean, it's a solid pick. It's laning presence. He could even scale. I mean, he is a Wind Ranger player at core, so you always think of like, hey, my focus fire, you know, maybe I could get myself like a Maelstrom or something. You kind of get baited. We'll see if the game drags on. I mean, he has draw aura. Like, maybe that's enough of an excuse to not get flamed by your teammates if you start buying like core items on Wind Ranger. But it's a solid pick. I think at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to GPK's ability to, you know, dictate the pace of the game, because the scaling on P-Vision is, I mean, we don't even see Satanic hero, but it's already scary. I feel like Centaur has shown that this hero thrives in the late game also. Like, he starts getting the hearts, the Aghanim save. All his spells are just crazy. The later the game goes, Invoker, that goes without saying, plus the Satanic last pick hero. So I think, you know, BB team, they're gonna want a repeat of last game where they are
ကောင်းစားနေပြီဒီလေးကိုဗာပေးရင်ကောင်းလဲတဲ့
I don't think they can afford to be even with the
elite carry ပဲပေးရမှာ
Do you think they can play Kez last pick? They are taking a lot of time thinking about it.
ချက်
here,
ကြီးရော
but they
အေး
need to
ဒီ
carry
လေး
with
ချက်ကြီးနဲ့
Gapos
ဆွဲမလား
to get on top of Drow Ranger.
You like
Nice
the-
lah.
Okay, they go for the Nakes instead. I think Kez would have been very nice too. The Nakes.
Elite ဆော့နေကြ
I
hero တွေ
mean,
မဟုတ်
I
ဘူး
actually haven't seen this
Elite က
hero
ကြောင်
much,
ဖတ်မယ်
if I'm honest. Like, it's obviously very good against Earth Spirit and against Largo. They have now an Infest target for Centaur. That's a combo we haven't seen in a while, but devastating versus range carries. Like, Draw hates being jumped by any hero, so let alone two. So, but yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I haven't seen enough Nakes to know. It doesn't feel like this explosive last pick where you're like, wow, they're in trouble, you know?
Yeah.
But I could be mistaken about it.
I've seen it a couple of times in the survival stage, and it was picked versus Darkseer and Centaur, and it looked fine, but what it needed to succeed was
Hey,
a
let's
carry
see that.
matchup and a way to have that
Laning
infest
ဖီးဝိုင်း
bomb.
ပြီးသွား
And
မယ်
the infest bomb does exist with the Centaur. The only issue that I would think about when it comes to Lifestealer is the Bane and the Fiend's Grip. That's a big issue for him, but you do have a Rubik covering this Bane threat, so that makes the Lifestealer look more viable to me.
I mean, even the draw matchup, in a sense, if somehow draw is allowed to reposition, whether it's Pike, whether it's Earth Spirit kick, anything really, then the Nakes is pretty sad, because there's no such thing as staying alive versus draw. There's also a bunch of silences, but I don't think Nakes really enjoys playing against. Like, there's the Earth Spirit silence, the draw silence. And, you know, Nakes, I guess, is gonna buy Radiance. It's probably still the build, so you go for a damage over time approach versus Largo. It's like, I'm yet to be convinced about the Nakes pick. Obviously, Satanic, you know, absolute expert, knows exactly why he wants the Nakes, but I'm just gonna sit and learn why Nakes was the last pick in this case.
One step at a time. First 10 minutes. Is BB gonna dominate the lanes like they did previous game?
I think P-Vision have very nice lanes set up for themselves. BB have this strong rotation and tempo after the laning stage with their Earth Spirit, but I think Invoker will do fine. I think the off lane of Centaur plus Rubik will also do fine. And the safe lane, I'm curious about it. I think Largo should out CS Lifestealer for like the first 4 levels, but after Lifestealer gets a couple of small items, he should be able to do okay on that lane.
Much more even than game 1 on the laning phase. It's gonna come down much more to
ဒါ
execution
ကို
and
က
outplays essentially.
ရှာတစ်ချက်တူ
That means
ရှ
we
က်
got
ကေ
a good
ချုပ်
one coming our way.
ကလောင်း
We
ကလောင်း
will see some adaptations
ဥဝင်မ
after
သေးစရာအကြောင်းတော့မရှိပါဘူးเนาะ
and we certainly got those. It is 1 game up right now for BB Vision. BB Vision, wow. For BB team against P Vision in this best of 5 grand finals. Let's see if they can make it a 2-0 or if we're gonna tie the series as we're heading over to Cap and SVG.
No worries, Sheevers. We do have a bit of alphabet soup here between BB Team and P Vision. BB Team is already challenging the existing narrative. So many people that I talked to going into this game, I think the most common prediction was 3-1 P Vision. And BB Team, well, they've already got 1 win, and we'll see if they can double up on that and put themselves just 1 game away from taking
Up the game in this playoff run yet. So in extremely consistent pace they are setting. They're kind of doing it with everything. They're looking good with at multiple stages in the game. Their laning phase is very solid. Again, it's just you're not going to run this team over in the laning phase, so you're always going to have to beat them in the team fights around the objectives, and that is where they impressed me most in that game 1. Like those late game team fights could have got messy, could have got really chaotic. The PL always puts a lot of pressure on you to make very clutch
Rubik
decisions.
Centaur lane ကတိတ်ပြီးတော့ခင်မရှိတော့ပါဘူး
Were there, the overgrowths were there, the decision making out
ကျွန်တော်ည
who they were using
ဘိန်းကိုဘယ်လိုနိုင်မှာ
who they were using it for was there. It all came together really nicely there, so that gives you a lot of confidence going deep into this series, saying like, hey, like we can just outplay this team in the late game. This draft from P Vision, there's definitely a lot of scale here. Like when you first pick Invoker, you're basically saying to your opponents,
အဲ
you're
no way ဟိုကဘာကြီးလဲကွာမိုက်လိုက်
you're just not going to have more scale than us. If we want more scale than you, we're going to be able to get it in because we first picked Invoker, and that's life, and you're going to have to deal with that. And it's going to be a tall order for BB Team to deal with this no one Invoker because he has Stampede, he has Cart, he has the Rubik to interrupt some of the grip or other control, turn it back against BB Squad. And then you have this Lifestealer to bail out other heroes with an Infest save, go and be a frontliner. Like there's so much room for no one to play around in this game. And no surprise because I think Puppy is very practiced at playing these Invoker lineups and understanding what the hero needs to succeed.
Yeah,
I think he definitely
နိုင်တနိုင်လို့တနိုင်လို့
GPK getting the early deny over the Invoker. We always see this, okay, the Invoker's going to go for the range creep. He's going to drop a Sunstrike on it, and the opposing side tries to stack it. Oh, Kiritich doesn't actually walk in.
โอ้โหစမ်းဆွဲလေးဝိုင်းတက်ဆန်း
They
That's it.
actually did too good
That's
of
it.
body blocking him,
That's
not
it.
punishing him on that positioning. Katomi might
That's it.
be able to nab the first
နှစ်
blood
ချက်
because it didn't go
အာ
to
ရ
Tower
ရ
Range.
လွတ်ပေးလိုက်လွတ်ပေးလိုက်
To the
ရှော့လိုက်ပါရ
not initially. He still is going to try and hunt for it.
โอเคအဲ့ဒါဆိုဖက်ပလက်လာမယ်လာမယ်ဖက်ပလက်လာမယ်ပြောပါလေခင်မရှိတော့ဘူးအဲ့နှကောင်
almost an unlucky body block. Like you dodge your own spell. Should have been a first blood there. We'll put some more pressure on Kiritich, try and force him off some of the CS, but the damage is done. First blood for the Bane. Kadomi having himself a series so far.
Yeah, he really is.
Like he was almost MVP in that game 1 because you have to be so on point with those overgrowth timings. The scouting he did early, he used the early shard well. He did a lot in that game, and here he is on one of the signature 5s of the tournament, in my opinion, this Bane. It's been a menace for a lot of teams to deal with. The pick-off pressure around the map is where this hero shines. You can start to find those big sleep or grip kills on targets that turn into objectives. Could look a lot like game 1, and you always have the nice counterplay for the Nakes here. Not a hero that Lifestealer likes to play into.
Talking about some of our other lanes, that bottom lane is kind of a weird one. Wind Ranger 4 position with a Largo 3 against a Lifestealer. Did you believe in this Lifestealer pickup when you saw it? Was that a hero that you were like, oh, they really got him?
I think so. I mean, maybe there's like some carry that theoretically can perform with some higher synergy with the Invoker or something. I'm not going to say it's the best Alacrity hero. It's not a hero that sets up Invoker spells.
တုံးလေးကတော့အရုပ်ဘက်မှာကြီးပဲ
Pretty nice here against the Largo. It's great against the Earth Spirit. You have to try and throw the grip into him, and there are counterplays for that between the Rubik and the Centaur. It's going to be annoying on the front lines here. You're really going to have to play for your Drow scale to deal with Satanic in this situation, and That's the position you want to put the Drow in. Like, you don't want to relieve pressure from the hero. You want to put him in a spot where you have to truly scale and carry this late game. The hero can sometimes deliver, but you have Centaur to gap close. You have some Invoker with some long-range artillery. There's a little bit of counterplay in this, so I think Lifestealer can pose a big problem here for BB, and he's going to free farm almost no matter
That's
what.
right That's right That's right မလာရင်တော့မင်းတီးဘူးပြင်တာ
It always comes down to maybe a Sunstrike kill.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite, but T'Challa still cleans it up. And he will at least make Save pay for blocking out his easy camp.
Not the first blood, but a nice little solo pickup for him, as both these guys find a little action here. Both Sunstrikes missing. Unfortunate for no one. He wants the extra golden experience here, but what can you do?
You combine that with GPK having such a good laning phase here. 13 denies over this Invoker. He is
Crushing it.
running in experience on the side of no one.
This guy is maybe the most...
GPK ကတော့ no အောင်နှစ်ပွဲလုံးတီးတာနော်
I'm just gonna say it. I feel like he's never in those discussions, but every single game, he is just owning the lane in any matchup. He is, even in the lanes where it's a losing lane, he's overperforming. And the lanes he's supposed to win, he wins them. So you kind of have to just accept that. And that's what it's looking like in this series. And it's not the worst situation for no one. Especially when you first pick Invoker, you're kind of expecting to lose the lane anyway. So in that sense, you're almost saying, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, you can win the lane if you're GPK, but we first picked our mid hero. It's a greedy mid hero. If no one gets out of this with a decent start, we're very happy with that. And honestly, he's doing fairly well. Like, this is a lane GPK is winning, but I think in terms of your expected outcome for a first pick Invoker, you're very happy with this. If you're not.
Okay, sure. Not a hero that's expected to dominate the lanes.
No.
But it is interesting, the BB team. I feel like there was this narrative for the longest time, BB team, oh, they're such an incredibly lane-dominant team. You really have to make sure you get out lanes against them. And I feel like that narrative kind of dialed down quite a bit over this last year and maybe even the year prior. And I think BB team became a more well-rounded team. But here in this finals, they're kind of back to some lane winning. Once again, top 3 CS in all 3 lanes. Multi-shot coming in. 9 class is going to die with the rotation of Save, surprising the top lane duo.
Nice little pickup for him. Recognize the wave was going in bottom for Miro, so you can leave this frog alone for a little bit with the equilibrium advantage and get some rotations going. You're gonna try and cascade this in towards that mid lane. Look for the Invoker. This is what you want to do against this hero. Now, to me, it's not as much about the lane matchup as trying to kill this hero 2 or 3 times before he gets to that first farming item.
But look at P-Vision already set up for it, and they're going to get the punish here. Tossing back Kataomi. GBK
Magnetize already
really
there.
good Magnetize though. Oh my god, he got level 6 right as they went for that play.
Perfect.
So even though P-Vision was in a better spot closer to the tower, it's just the overwhelming advantage of having this ultimate.
No chance you're taking that fight with Magnetize already online. And maybe they just weren't expecting it. That's all those denies adding up. Right, you're kind of looking at your mid laner XP and thinking the other one's kind of close, but with 19 denies, he's a full level ahead. Beautiful rotation from BB, and that is exactly what you want to do to punish this first pick Invoker. Put some deaths on the board. Slow down that meteor hammer. It slows down his entire game. Gets GPK off to a fast start and an amp damage.
The Forge Spirit, he was trying to race to get the deny on that power room, but it does go to GPK. Of course, he's not a bottle hero, so this is not something, it's not a power room he's going to be able to hold for the Wisdom Shrine, but we may see some action still around those, especially Kataomi getting in there.
ဟုတ်ရ
Sunstrikes are just not
Sunstrike ကိုရှောင်သွားတယ်နော်
He's got some stuns to set it up, but just some little jukes here. And yeah, you're right. No bottle for GPK. Kind of interesting. Seen a lot of Earth Spirits offer that bottle. He just has to
Nine
just
set
go
account
so
load
hard
what
with
the heck?
Some extra strength stats.
It makes sense, I think, in an Invoker matchup, right? He just maximizes stats, so he just gets a massive CS lead.
It's paid off here. We'll get
Tornado set up Meteor. GPK with a cold snap on him. He's slowed down. They need the land. The Sunstrike.
Oh.
He set it up. He says, I know you're good enough, GPK, to make the read that I'm using my Sunstrike. I know you're going to dodge it. Reads him like a goddamn book.
That's veteranship right there. That's the next level play.
I mean, imagine you just look like the fool. GPK just walks straight back. No one. What a sick read.
Absolutely sick. I mean, that's kind of playing into like some respect. You know, I respect you're a good enough player to look at my mana while you're running away and recognize when it's coming out and play for the 50-50 on the
တော်
cheap.
တက်နေ
You're either throwing it down or you're throwing it up there.
တော်တက်နေရကောင်တိုက်ရိုက်ခွဲရရမယ်
Expect him to run. big pickup for him. He needed one of those to land. He's going to get another here, and suddenly...
Oh, beginning to cook now.
Oh, yeah, that's why you needed to kill this guy a couple times in the early game. There's too much setup in this game. He's always going to find some Sunstrike connections if you're not just going on him. Do have another Magnetize available.
Illusion Rune will be denied, but GPK, okay, especially with Miro joining in, they have a chance to get 9 class. Bushwhack holds him back. Miro's still going to keep the chase up, though, giving these heroes the extra movement speed. And now they surround 9 class for the pickoff.
This Earth Spirit Largo combination is going to be really strong. You got to respect it in this game.
Nice read. They make the read that there was a high ground ward there as well, so a bit of extra golden experience. Ducalis could set up Nightmare to a full power shot or shackle shot. Power shot to lead things off. They split up to make sure the Bushwhack doesn't land. The Sunstrike. Oh, what a shackle though! Catching Satanic and Ducalis there. Katomi needs
ơi đuổi qua đi đuổi phi bị qua đi ngày nay
The Infest Bomb bails out the Invoker and allows him to complete the TP.
And your Magnetize disappears at the same time, so you might have to wait another 90 seconds if you're GBK to get something going here around this mid lane. Power the Lifestealer here. Can bail out some of these heroes and be a nuisance in the fight, not an easy target to focus down.
do bà cũng ai được gì à
Kiritich chasing him. Very awkward situation for him as GPK gladly rolls in and cleans some of that up. This Drow is free farming.
Kiritich must have seen the opportunity, like Stampede got used. Okay, I can put pressure on the Centaur and results in some sort of awkward positioning.
He's pretty fat on this Drow.
Yeah. One of the scariest heroes of this patch.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I think it's been figured out a little bit, but still got to respect what this hero can do and how fast it can come online if it has a free game like this. Quick smoke. No Magnetize available, but looking to get some earn charges for GPK.
Look at this move, Satanic. Miro's kind of baited it out right now. Satanic doesn't get hit by the roll in from GPK.
ကျော်အမ silent ကိုစား silent ကိုစားဟိုတလူဖြက်ဒီလူဖြက်အမ short
Perfect timing. That shackle's not landing, so you need a little extra disable there. And right on time. The connections have been so fluid for BB in this series. They are nailing the timings. That's going to get a tier 1 tower, kick this Lifestealer out. Suddenly that free farming Satanic hero, he has to sit on the bench for a little bit as this Drow pulls ahead.
ถ้าချမယ်ရချရင်ချလို့ရတယ်နော်
He is Magnetize here. Not a guaranteed tower push.
No, not at all. Boulder Smash will clear out the creeps, a minimal amount of damage done to this tier 1.
I will say, P-Vision have a lot more of the Ghost Shove we're used to kind of seeing from their lineups that they can play around this game between the Invoker, the Helm off of the Centaur, and the Lifestealer, if you're aware of like the group cooldown and how far you can push lanes with the Rage TP.
Okay, yeah.
It could become a similar game to how we've seen them dominate the map in terms of like you're getting lanes and you find that one pick off and then you just chain it across the map. So you have to be a little wary here, BB, in terms of the Sunstrike there.
ကယ်ရီရင်းကတော့1000 กว่าနေပြီ Jelly Carry ပြောချင်တာ Constraint အောင်ချိန်တယ်ငါတို့ကတာတယ်
Since you've got 3 heroes on BB team that don't really want to deal with lanes and just kind of want to run after heroes, right? Earth Spirit, Wind Ranger.
Yes. That's the biggest factor here, is like who's going to show on these waves as we go later and later in this game, and how do you do it safely? That's another reason you need these cores to be as fat as possible.
Right.
You need to get the HP totals up. You have some strength heroes that can sit on those waves and tank a lot of spells, assuming you can get the levels, some of those early items up online, and
feels like the most important one in that regard has got to be Miro, right? He's the one who's going to show the longest in these lanes, pushing out.
Sort of feels like Meteor Hammer for him. I was thinking Vessel for the Earth Spirit, but GPK is actually just going Ogre Club, opting for a faster BKB. So he's choosing survivability over a little more early game aggression, which I think is fair. I think it's going to be hard to just force your way onto P-Vision's side of the map. They have a lot of defensive options in this game.
Do you think is it the Invoker that's putting him in that position? Like, do you think he would go this build against any other hero?
I think it's maybe the lineup as a whole. Like, it's the Invoker plus 3 other stuns.
Okay.
If you don't have BKB and you roll in, you just get stunned by something, you're going to get chain stun, you're going to get burst down by no one's damage. So I think the Invoker is the biggest threat here for sure. BKB is your best option. I think it's also all the control he's worried about just rolling into.
They will have
မြင်နေရတယ်မြင်နေရတယ်အိတ်လိုက်မလားအာ
Solar gets a bash. I suppose there's always the stolen Fiend's Grip, which is something Katomi's going to have to be careful with. Always kind of hard to play Bane against Rubik.
Some nice spells to steal in this game, that's for sure. These Earth Spirit spells are a lot better now than they used to be as well. Both the kick and the pull, especially the pull.
Yeah, if you get a shard, then you have telekinesis save and geomagnetic grip save. We've seen some great plays with that. We've also seen some not so good ones. Thinking about that Rune Eaters game.
Okay, that was, that was a unique situation.
yeah.
Not throw them out of the bus. And you get the Dom creep. They're doing stacks right now. Another very efficient game from BB. They pretty much held the lead this entire series. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
အနာလေးပဲဆော့တာဗျအကောင်လုံးက easy ကွာကို easy fan ရတာပေါ့
Looking to get that Largo nice and juicy. Get those extra Croca Genius points up, and that's when this Earth Spirit Largo combo is going to shine. So much damage coming off of that. You will need Dispels, you will need BKBs in this game at some point. Maybe another reason you just go faster BKB here if you're GBK. Like, you have Largo boosting you up. You need to make sure your team fight connects. Oh, a little off the mark.
That was a Sunstrike for sure.
Instant TP top trying to roll in the Centaur in instant stampede.
He's already out of here.
Yeah, that was going to be a tough connection.
ပိတ်လိုက်တာ
I mean, because P-Vision made that read, it's like instant. Mid Tower is going to
Lime,
die
lime.
with that.
And Satanic just getting kicked out of here.
Yeah, that is annoying, especially since he's so close to his Radiance. Been delayed from that gank by the Drow Ranger and Earth Spirit from earlier.
A lot of space for the Invoker, though. Like, they did not manage to put any more pressure into no one here after that first early kill, so he just takes mid tower. He's cruising through these jungles. He's almost top network in this game. You gotta remember, this first pick Invoker. Like, you're super happy with this outcome.
PK အင်ဘောက
Save, trying to juke the sharpshooter shot. The Sunstrike will be the death of him.
shit yeah
Another kill for no one. Well, he's just jungling. Getting served on a platter right now. All these stuns.
Creeping closer and closer to that Drow Ranger net worth.
Game definitely slowed down for BB here. I thought they were going to be able to find a little more openings behind the Surf Spirit, playing through that mid lane, but they've kind of just been avoiding it. They just are afraid to go anywhere near this Invoker.
Get a grab on Ducalis, not wasting any time. Fiend's Grip dropped.
Stolen Rhapsody. Didn't get the grip steal, was a little out of range. And once more, you're just kind of
ပိတ်ထားတာတိုင်းရေ no one ရေဟာရောင်ရေ GPK ဟာ GPK ကုန်လွဲတယ်ဟာ
Could have been a very good setup for Magnetize. Still going to drop that ultimate on 9 class here. And try and run him down, but there's the Stampede combined with the Rubik's natural magic resistance. It's not the fastest kill to get. He keeps up, and hit him with the silence there. Geomagnetic grip, and the Infest save. Once again, coming in at just the nick of time. Satanic's been pretty good with that one. Tornado sweeps on through. BB team not going to be caught by that one. Shackle
ကုန်
goes
ပြီ
out.
နော်ရအောင်အဲ့ကောင်အဲ့ဒါပြီးကုန်ပြီ
Satanic committing to the kill on Katomi.
အဲ့ကောင်အဲ့ဒါပြီးကုန်ပြီအေးပြန်ကန်ထည့်ပြီဟုတ်တယ်မှန်တယ်ရအောင်အေးဒီညမင်းဘောလုံးကန်ရမယ် GPK Can't get it, young Gong.
Alongside Sade to get that last hit. It's Satanic. Now 2 different deaths on him. He played up that first game with hardly a single. I mean, I think he had no deaths for what, like 40 minutes?
Yeah, it was only at the very end, basically, in that river fight. Here, 2 early ones, and one of those at the hands of a Swiss kick. Beautiful positioning from GPK. Just sits on the backside. Pretty hard for him to have impact there with Magnetize on cooldown, but still finds a way to secure the big carry kill. And Kiritich joining that fight at the right time to dissuade them taking some sort of Radiance timing.
ဟာရောင်အေး see ya
Has another Sunstrike roll.
oh very good
Oh, GPK gets him with the geomagnetic grip and kicks him away.
Doing a little bit of everything in this game.
He really is.
Medic from the mid lane.
And I love the way that BB Team's lineup has ways to cover each other like that. Nightmare setup on Ducalis.
Sorry,ဒီကောင်နေများနေ
On 9 class who's trying to
ကိုက်ရင်လည်းကိုက်လိုက်တိုင်း
run himself out of danger here. Power shot connects. GPK. Here comes the Sunstrike though. It hits it.
အော်ရောင်အေးစမ်းဆွဲတယ်အောင်းလိုက်
One to find the pick off. A high ground ward helps with that one. 9 class even making the steal of a brain sap as he walks away. Of course, that does reveal his high ground ward. Katomi quick to deward that.
It almost feels like some sort of Ags Labyrinth game. You're just trying to dodge spells and find the raid boss between the Drow and the Lifestealer here. There's so many extra spells you have to think about in these engagements in terms of where's the limit you can push it to. You overcommit, they stampede and reset, you could be left dead in the water. If you overcommit on the side of P-Vision, you get slept in the back or like licked.
ပေးထားမယ်ပေးထားမယ်ထုံးစံတိုင်းပေးလိုက်မယ်
Drow waiting in the
အာ
darkness.
မြင်သွားတယ်ထင်တယ် Asabru
Very scary fights to just run headlong into.
Satanic, they're going to roll onto him, but there's already backup here. So GPK, this is not good for him, and he doesn't have a roll back up. With lower levels, once you roll in, you don't really have a good way out.
GPK တိတ်မစော့နိုင်ဘူး Asabru
Doesn't have the innate survivability, especially if the lick gets used to bail someone else
GPK
out.
တိတ်မစော့နိုင်ဘူးဖြစ်နေ
Yeah, he's been kind of looking for kills and trying to make action happen, and unfortunately, he's not getting the last
ကဲ
hit.
ပွဲကတော့
The kills
Curatic
he's
ရေမင်းပေါ်
recorded.
ရမ်းမှုတည်
His
သွားတယ်
net worth is really tumbling down the chart here. He is 1,000 behind Miro, who is second to last in the core battle of net worth.
We'll probably have to find something with that BKB timing. 9 Class trying to make something happen here.
Attempted Sunstrike, not gonna land. 9 Class pays the price.
Solid pickup for save. They get a nice sleep mid, though the Forge
Ah.
Spirits will remove it. There's a lot to remove sleep in this game.
No doubt.
ကြာများကြာလာမလားလို့ Moka လေး
But you have a really farm Drow. I mean, that's been the story here for BB. They're just making space for Kiritich, who's had an absolutely free game. Almost 2,000 ahead of the next opponent. That's a concern. Like, he has a nice margin on this Lifestealer. It's not the easiest matchup for Lifestealer. Need to be able to get on top of him and survive. There's an armlet pickup just for some extra bonus armor.
Yeah, I like that.
Have to imagine that this could be like an AC Lifestealer game. That's one of your better items in this matchup. But you also need a Dispel in this game for sure.
GB တော်တော်ကြာသွားတယ်ဗျ
I'm just thinking about this fight. He gets the Hurricane Pike, right? You try and go Drow Ranger, Hurricane Pike, bit of disengage. Geomagnetic Grip, bit of disengage. Catchy Leg. Okay, there's another.
Moka နဲ့ Asabru
Maybe
နည်းနည်း
a
ကွာ
little
သွား
nightmare
ပြီနောက်က
dodge on something, a pullback or something like that. You know, there is a lot of small ways. There's not one of those like big hard saves, but there's a lot of ways to help this Drow Ranger create just a bit more distance against a Lifestealer Centaur that are looking to just run you over.
It might be a hard save in this game because the only way you're really dealing damage is you're keeping some hero on a spot. Like the Invoker damage is all AoE effectively. Like the Sunstrike has to land, the Meteor has to land, or they're in an ice path. Lifestealer needs to hit you. If you're just
ใกล้လိုက်မလား
out of these spots,
ใกล้လိုက်မလားလို့
Jackal shot.
အဲ့ဒါကိုပြောတာใกล้လိုက်မလား
GPK, they use the Fiend's Grip to magnetize everything they got to kill this very high net worth hero.
It's a save.
But an infest save. And he gets away
ချမယ်ချမယ်ချမယ်ချမယ်ချမယ်လား
GPK having a hard time keeping that going. He'll get it on 9 Class at least. He needs something out of this BKB usage, and it'll be 2 support kills.
that's not bad for that first BKB, especially since again your Drow is just free farming, pushing in mid. Level 16 and a half for Kiritich. It's getting a little out of control here for this Drow Ranger. He is just eclipsing the Lifestealer.
He gets a Butterfly.
It's going to be such a fast timing and great grip setup. It's going to be really hard to find some nice core grip connections. That's what just starts off all this fight. And then you bail your Invoker out, but this is not a fight you can take. The Magnetizing Earth Spirit on the front line is way too strong. It's all bail out here.
And a fight like that, this corner of the map, they just go through gate. Take the Tormentor.
Largo Dota right here. Group up, abuse the song. Will be a very nice encore Lotus Orb game for Miro. Already has the Lotus online, can quickly go into the Shard now.
GPK, after completing the BKB, will go back for the Spirit Vessel. Meanwhile, P-Vision went for a bit of an excursion
လာကို
here.
ရင်တက်သွားလာကိုရင်တက်သွား
Centaur, double stuns, a decent amount of
Oh,
burst.
really?
You combine the Sunstrike, it's a lot, but they do not see an opportunity for a fast and easy kill.
You can always boots of travel into the Centaur Dom creep, so there's potentially a lot of firepower behind a play like that. That shows you how much they respect some of the displacement spells, like Grip, Lick, can cover each other running up that hill. Unless you have a lot of information, it's kind of scary to be that deep on the map where you don't know where all these saves are. Well, let's see how well BB play around the Drow as they did in the Timber game 1, because this is a game where Kiritich is now your win condition. Similar to how that Timber was in game 1, you have to respect that he's going to need the utility. He needs the reposition. Like, you don't want to use your Lick and Grip early in the fight.
ကျွန်တော်ရနေ
Let
BKB
someone
ရရင်
back
easy ဖြစ်သွား
target,
ပြီ
have to bail somebody out, and then P-Vision get a free initiation on your Drow.
အောင်
with
ပါ
none
အောင်
of
ပါ
those
အင်
saves
ပိုကောက်
available.
တွေ့ပြီအင်ပိုကောက်
Need to
တွေ့
make
ပြီ
sure that he is the priority in this game and that the fight flows through this Drow Ranger right now. Big smoke gang through this bottom lane. They're trying to find no one down here.
အင်ပိုကောက်လိုက်အင်ပိုကောက်လိုက်
Surrounded. It's the Rubik in some trouble. Gets gusted. Meanwhile, the Invoker went
Ah,
for the
mi
kill
lao
on
đầu.
save. So now he's just got to get out of here with the Stampede. Goes for a TP way on the
အော်
outside.
ကောင်းနေ
Brooks
ကွာ
on Thompson.
တုံးကအမှ
And
ကလုံးဆိုပြီးကောင်းကိုပြုတ်ကြပါ
gets a double.
And the streak, 5x kill streak. 540 gold for this Drow. That's the last person you wanted a gold injection going into.
And he felt like the Invoker and Centaur were the bigger threat, so he did not go for the Butterfly, goes for the BKB, and it's almost done already. Get that with a level 18.
You're looking at Roche soon. And this is the pressure that you need to find on the map with the Invoker. Like, you can't just be entirely passive here. You want to be able to find pickoffs, pressure the lanes, start to threaten this tier 1 bottom so you can play the full map. Like, I think that's a fine play from no one. He just gets barely caught on the TP out. I'll also say it's been a very quiet game for the Centaur. This has been one of the offlaners of the tournament. He's gone for more of a utility route with early Blink Lotus. We saw how much Notice did in that Axe game with an early Blink, but he hasn't really been able to find a lot of aggressive openings here. The lane was tough. He's had to recover. He is farmed here off the Dom. But you'd like to see him get a little more involved here if you're P-Vision. I think he's been one of your best playmakers this tournament.
It's funny you started that sentence. I thought you were going to say Satanic. I mean, it's been a quiet game for both side laners, but
Joint fights, though.
yes, it made sense in game 1 where he was just kind of like, okay, Phantom Lancer, big hard carry.
I mean, what's the hero damage in this game right now for P-Vision? Like, I feel like Centaur has to be the lowest. I don't think he's really done anything to an enemy hero other than some Stampede damage.
They go for the Roche. But what I was going to get to is Lifestealer
Yeah,
in
ma'am.
this matchup. Like, when do you feel like you're...
မြင်ပါမလားတာဝါတွေရှိတယ်နော်
Manta's done.
ကိုလေးတို့ရေ
AC is where I am going to see this matchup pick up for him. Okay. But he can definitely fight with the Manta right now. This is
Tornado
a Roche you
a little
can
bit
test.
low into the Roshan pit. Send some Forge Spirits down.
ကောင်းထင်တယ်
the line.
နော်
Roshan is low enough that this is really awkward for BB team.
You have to just BKB and commit for it if you're Kiritich. Hope that you outclick them right here.
They got the Sunstrike inside, trying to land the Bushwhack, but he popped the BKB in time. But
ကောင်း
they
တယ်
don't
ကောင်းတယ်
have
ကောင်းတယ်
it.
ကောင်းတယ်စပူတာလွယ်တဲ့ကောင်နှစ်ကောင်ကောင်းတယ် GPK ရဲ့ရဒရိုးနည်းနည်းကဒရိုးနည်းနည်းက
Supports out of the pool, but he's got to get away from this.
Bro,
Lifestealer
Neneka.
sneaking on top of the Drow Ranger, looking to take the one life, and now go for the second.
Awkward position right
Meteor
now.
lands on a Meteor. Oh, a little bit too early there from no one. Pops BKB, does have.
အဲ့တော့ညာရှော့ပြီဟာ
Meteor landing on top of the Drow Ranger, pulling back with a
ပြေးတာပြေးတာပြေးတာပြေးတာပြေးတာပြေးတာ
With Lifestealer there, pops Manta, makes a run, gets a first.
ကောင်းတယ်ကွာ
He tried to land the Sunstrike.
အေးအဲ့ညီလေးကိုတီးညီလေးကိုတီး
Save just keeps landing. Another 2-core shackle shot from him, and it's enough to get the Lifestealer kill.
Dude, how did he get out of there? That is ridiculous that the Drow just walks away.
Look at Satanic head in hands after 2 different crucial shackles. Keep the momentum going P-Vision's way.
There are a lot of teams that are not going to pick Wind Ranger in the grand finals, let alone to support Wind Ranger. This is the one guy you give it to, and you have confidence he's going to land the shackles every single time. This is Safe's hero. Like,
ကိုဆွေးမဲ့ဖြစ်သွားတာကွာ Aegis ပြန်ကျသွားတယ်
It's not even close. And he shows you why in this fight. 2 double core shackles? Are you kidding me? What even is that?
Yeah, look how much free time Kiritich got. They kill the 2 supports as a result of that.
Satanic strong here. Like, he has Frost Armor on top of it, a little extra boost. He's doing some work.
Yep.
You have a nice setup on this Drow Ranger.
no one စစ်ထိုးရတယ်ပြောရမယ်
Tornado destroyed the
ထောင်းနေတဲ့ကောင်ကြီးကိုဒီပေါ်တင်လိုက်တယ်သလားအဲ့ထောင်းတာနဲ့အဲ့ဂျော်ဒန်ညာတီနိုင်လောက်တယ်ဟာ
Missed the Meteor on the second life there, because he also went for a Meteor Hammer kill.
You missed the Sunstrike as well. Not the most efficient spellcasting there from no one. And you're just like, why do I have to play against this guy's Wind Ranger? Please.
Satanic not happy with that one. It hasn't really blown up the game too much.
No.
Surprisingly, BB team only up 2K.
They did lose Aegis there too. So you kind of cleared through that objective. Your cores are still in a fine spot. I mean, maybe this game feels more frustrating than it's actually
no one
reflected
စစ်ထိုး
in
ရ
the
တယ်
scoreboard
တော်
right
သေးတယ်
now. Like you're still in a fine spot.
စန်တော်ကြီးထောင်းပြီးလက်စီတာကိုယ့်ရင်တော့တီနိုင်တယ်အဲ့နေရာမှာ
You can chase this Drow down. Like, he can't sit there and just man fight you. So it's all about positioning, how much you can stay on top of him, how much you can just get in there with all your cores so you can land some early stuns.
I do think this butterfly timing, though, for the Drow is going to be a hefty hit.
For sure, it's a big damage upgrade, big item in the matchup. You're not going to have the evasion pierce for a long time, if ever. And this is also when we're also approaching that 30-minute mark, which is where you want to see no one start to pick up some of those cheeky kills, like the Bane snipe there. He's a massive threat on his own and can really up the map pressure against, like we talked about, supports for BB that don't really want to sit and push a wave. They want to be kind of hunting at nighttime around the Bane night vision, trying to set kills up, being aggressive themselves. It's hard to do that when there's just this Ghost Walk Invoker running around the map, potentially infested, potentially with Stampede available.
And potentially with a free TP out. Look at his build-up. It's going to be a Linken's up next. So if he split pushes the map and you try and make some sort of play to him, if he BKBs and still has his Linken's to stop the Fiend's grip.
Not much you're doing. I mean, this Linken's tells me they are expecting this game to go late. They want to be able to rat successfully, find the pickoffs, go into the late game. The heart's online for the Centaur. Everything points towards some heavy scale here for P-Vision, and rightly so, because they're not ending this game anytime soon. We saw the Shadow Blade for Kiritich. He opts for that first before that Butterfly. Gets a nice pickoff with a top. And he took the Gust move speed here over the multi-shot damage.
I think it's actually
Kind of
a great
interesting.
game for it.
Yeah, if there were ever a game for it, it's got to be one in it like this.
Yeah.
See if that talent pays off. And it is a heavy investment of a talent when you're losing. out on
BKB
that
တော့
damage.
Linkin တွေရော no one စုံလိုက်လားပစ္စည်းပစ္စည်းရတယ်
Now we just kind of settle into a mid-game that is very even. BB team are going to wait for their Butterfly most likely before they make a move. P-Vision, well, they may never make a move, but at least a team fight play. We're going to probably see them do a lot of ratting, a lot of attempt at pickoffs here. No one, thanks to this ward laid out, they're going to find him very isolated. No one is going to try and get here with a tornado, push through, stop some of that. No one does manage to get away with the Stampede initially. Blinks out. He's good to go. Now they're going to try and hunt down no one.
Nah, he's got Linken's BKB.
Yeah, he dodges that much.
တော့
BKB.
အဲ့လိုလွယ်နဲ့တော့မရအောင်
Run for it, goes to the TP out.
You force it at least. But that is the beauty of this build. You can play aggressive, and when it comes to it, you just bail out of that situation. You're not losing anything here. And damn, that Centaur is tanky. That is... He's got to be a tough target to bring down in this game, unless the Drow is just sitting there hitting him. But of course, in these situations, you're worried about what the other two cores are doing.
Yeah, he might have gone a Lotus early instead of maybe the faster Heart like we saw some of these other players do, but he still has kept his net worth up. In fact, he is way ahead of the Largo. 3,000 up on him, even 1,000 ahead of GPK.
Going to scale nicely here, and they're going to go for that triple armor item timing. Like, you have the Lotus on the Centaur, you're going to go Shivas on the Invoker, AC on the Lifestealer. That's going to be a big time to strike back, particularly going into this next Rosh. If you can line it all up, take the fight into the Drow, that's a lot of extra bonus armor for Kiritich to try and get through in the fight. You limit his damage output. Things are looking a lot easier for you in terms of just sustaining in the middle of all that, because this Largo doesn't have Ags yet. His biggest impact is getting in there and getting the Encore Lotus off. Croca Genius on the Earth Spirit, yeah, that's nice too. But who's going to stand their ground against Invoker spells? You're going to have to trade BKBs for it, or I guess you go back to land some sick disabled, right? If you get a good sleep.
တက်လက်တွေပါနေဆွဲမရတော့မယ်ထင်တ
We
ယ်
saw two amazing shackles in that Roche fight. That can be a difference maker.
Or BB team just played him. Kite them.
ဒရိုညာများတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ damage မှာ damage ကဒရိုညာတစ်ကောင်ထဲမှာရှိနေတာပြဿနာဖြစ်နေတာ
It isn't op. I'd
La
say
Guru
it's
bro,
decent
I love
against
hope.
Stealer. Like this hero is
Damage
always
ka.
kiteable in ultra late game. A lot harder against Invoker. It's really difficult to kite this hero. When he's so fast, he can get in there. He always has the longer range. He can kind of pick his opening.
There's the AC. EKB up next for Noticed. Kiritich is on the hunt. Silver Edge with about to expire. Tries to catch 9 classes already away. Only gets the Helm of Domcrete.
I think BB needs this next Roshan. They need an Aegis on this Drow to continue to exert some pressure on the objectives and progress this game. Otherwise, this is just turning into a, you know, rat the side lanes, continue to scale our Tricore, and our Tricore looks a little scarier right now. So what is the response?
And the funny thing is, they do have the vision. They have the opportunities, but P-Vision is just moving a bit too fast around the map. Maybe this smoke could land something.
This could line up really nicely if you find the Lifestealer down here. They read this move. Centaur TP in, counter smoke, infest bomb. Oh
They're gonna
boy.
break him right in an awkward spot here. They do instant Fiend's grip.
Ah, yeah,
But it's gonna cost Bane heavily.
Drone nhà too far, drone nhà too far. Heo này lit.
But Lotus just easily takes that out of the equation, and they catch save on the retreat now. Miro pops BKB, goes to the TP out. GPK though, telekinesis on Troy.
Ah, yeah.
That's 3 kills.
အဲ့လိုတွဲလိုက်ကြည့်ပေးရ
Read that perfectly. They just completely cut off the smoke move there. A BB team, and they didn't have their Drow Ranger anywhere close, so that fight starts in just a terribly awkward way.
You probably have
ယောက်
to
ကြီးကန်းဆိုကျွန်တော် Russian တန်းပေါ်တာဟာ
the drow. The second you see multiple heroes on that smoke break, you're not going to win that fight without the drow's damage.
And they don't know.
ဘိန်းကစမ်းတော့ယူအဲ့လိုကြိုက်လိုက်တာ
Roche spot. So there was actually a world where P-Vision maybe could have just straight Roshan. They still maybe have the opportunity to do so, but right now they're going for as
အဲ့လို
many
မဟုတ်ဘူးထင်တယ်
objectives
နော်
as
ဘိ
possible.
န်းက
Great bushwhack from
စမ်းတော့ကြိုက်ရမယ်
Nice.
ဥစ္စာမဟုတ်
Showing up in this series with some clutch spells.
Spell တွေကုန်လွဲတာဟဲ့
As You got all the angles here. Supports down, easy chase down on these 2 big boys. And your only option is the Nightfall out of here. And end up getting Roche anyway. Just too far to run here with everybody off the respawn. So Alacrity Lifestealer getting the job done. Aegis for Satanic, he is fully online.
It's going to boost him to an MKB against the Drow and the Wind Ranger.
He's going to have MKB the second the Butterfly's done. This is P-Vision's timing right now. They're absolutely happy to take any sort of fight. They have saves, they have long-range artillery, they have heroes that can chase you down. It's going to have to be some insanely clutch spell casting from BB to stem the bleeding here.
So close to that Butterfly. Now, Rolling Boulder is going to make even 9 class tough for
Đấy rồi,
BB team
cũng
to
là-
catch.
ပြီးလိုက်ရတာ
Rat is working.
ယူသုံးကောင်ကိစ္စမရှိဘူးအဲ့ကိုရမယ် Aegis သူများကိုပေးလိုက်ရတာတော်တော်ဆိုးတာဗျ
You're looking to reposition your drow to get some extra dispels going in the fight.
And an extra 30% magnetized damage, though. GPK, it's not been the easiest for him to keep that damage
အဲ့
on
ချင်တာ
heroes.
ရက်တော့မှရတာ
No.
You've got the Rage on Satanic, you've got a Lotus on the Centaur, so these 2 frontliners,
They may not
they're
be able to
taking
do
it
that.
off right away.
Probably
Maybe
needs some
it may
25
not
talent in
play.
this game to really make that spell shine
ဝေ
here.
ဝေးတစ်တီလေးနဲ့
There's MKB for the Lightstealer, but as the Butterfly arrives for Kirtich, it's already countered, and you gotta expect that P-Vision are just gonna instantly try and take the fight. You can go for the Infest Centaur initiation again, or you can hold it. They're gonna go for the more aggressive route. That is a 6k HP Centaur. Again, you cannot throw spells unnoticed here. You're just losing the fight the more you throw on it. You have to find other targets.
Smoke to this high ground area, hoping to play some ward down and find some heroes, but of course they're spotted before that. They still manage to get the jump. It's on the Bane. BB team,
Phía út này nó-
on to 2.
Oh, beautiful tornado.
Satanic's just boosting himself. They get a force staff up to the high ground though. So with this MKB, he was not able to kill Save.
မဟုတ်ဘူးထင်တယ်
He
နော်
gets kited around
မဟုတ်
pretty
ဘူး
heavily
လို့
there.
ပြောနေတဲ့
That was not looking too bad with the drow damage going into him. But you're able to walk it off. Stampede can bail you out. You got a BKB out of the Largo. You got the Bane buyback. Got a nice D-ward. That's all map control. That's all net worth in the bank. Small victories here.
Not bad at all. Miro just not going the Aghanim Scepter at all. And I don't really blame them. The Scythe of Ice could do a lot in this game. So that's what he's opting for next.
It reduces his individual threat a lot, though.
Sure.
Like, Largo in the late game is not Largo without that Ags.
Well, were you ever going to be a threat against Lifestealer Centaur?
Yeah, probably not. You're a lot
ကဲ drone ညာကတော့ item ကတော့ပြည့်သွားပြီဗော
It's about having, you know, the heals, the move speed, all of this good stuff in the fight for everybody else. You definitely want Ags at some point.
item ပြည့်တဲ့ drone ညာလေးပြစ်ခွင့်ရမလားပဲကြည့်ရမယ်
No one. Also going to go Scythe of Ice. We've got the MKB complete for the Lifestealer. And now it's a classic Abyssal Blade next up.
And the big hits just keep coming. Ags for Centaur too. So now you have the saves online. Team fights just keep looking harder and harder here.
Just a Bane Illusion, the real one, which was holding the gem. Does manage to TP away.
It's all on this drow. Like, the fight has to happen in a way where this drow has solid positioning. You keep a formation and she can just lay multiple multi-shots into people. that doesn't happen, I think the fight's going to crumple real quickly.
And that Drow fight is easiest for her on a high ground. So P-Vision, they've got 1 minute left on this Aegis. Are you willing to risk hitting tier 3 at all?
It's a toxic high ground.
GPK တိတ်မလုံနိုင်ဖြစ်သွားတယ်
Roll silence, kicked in, licked in, gripped, like
Yeah, it
I don't
feels
know.
like no way I would want to go for that.
no. Until you're confident enough to just jump and take the fight that way. I don't
ဒါလားမ
think
ဒါလား
keep
separate ပဲ
looking
charge
for
ပါ
the
မရှိတော့
across the map because you have the Ghost Walk Invoker, the 600 MS plus hero just running around with the Conjure's Catalyst. Again, he rolled well, so you're very happy in this situation as no one.
And they're able to play 3 cores on one side of the map, and all the lanes are still pushed in. That's how quickly they're able to move around. That's how quickly they're able to push in these lanes.
Yeah, look at how fast they are just running, right? Yeah, this is a 550 Centaur in the smokes with the Infest. 530 Invoker.
I mean, they almost were fast enough to catch BB Team on a D ward there. So they knew about that high ground ward from that last fight. They finally felt confident enough to be able to take it out.
It's full map control.
Aegis နဲ့ဆိုတော့လေ
Double wards.
respect
on
ပေး
this
ထားတာ
top lane. Anybody from BB Team pushes out through here
They
might
might
be the victim of this smoke.
They would probably be willing to take a fight right outside the base right now because the Aegis is expiring. There it goes.
Miro is the one showing. Are they willing to jump in? GPK is going to pop the Shivas, but he gets
David
jumped
Tene,
stunned,
yeah.
and he's already dead.
Ooh, so fast.
That was some hefty damage in a
Ah,
split
tell me why,
second
yeah.
there. Miro is going to have to BKB. It's a 4-staff. It's a nightmare trying to get him ahead of these meteors.
He's burning.
He is burning and he dies.
အာရ
That's it. They actually kill him.
what
off.
the hell
Didn't want to press the BKB, but then you end up losing the Largo and you had to
Ah.
use the Charles anyway. This is high ground opened up. Even
တော့ညာလည်း
though
BKB
Aegis
ပေးလိုက်ရတယ်
pretty lifesteal up here.
Yeah, it happens fast. Tier 3 is almost dead already.
Satanic buyout for Kiritich. He is fully committed to the next fight.
How do they play this fight, though?
တေးပြီးတင်တယ်
It's a stomp on a 2.
Beep, 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 beep.
But the Bane is still in some trouble. Come down from the tornado. He dies off of that one. GPK off his buyback. A big hit with this Magnetize. He got a lot of heroes in this, and he's keeping it going.
တစ်ဆန်း
too.
ကွာ
Managed
တာ
to
ကြီး
get Magnetize on all 4 of these heroes. Let's see if he can keep it going, though. P-Vision is already retreating, and GPK,
Got one.
it's like he just can't keep it up. He only gets the hoodwink for
Ah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
GPK,
BKB.
he's not gonna make
No
it back
ball.
in. He needs some help. Somebody's got to push him back in.
အော်ရောင်အေး BKB ပေးလိုက်ရတယ်
No one is just getting all of these Sunstrikes. Sure, the first like 4 or 5 didn't go his way, but now when it really calls for clutch plays, he's getting the pickoffs that are allowing this high ground to just look oh so easy.
3ယောက်
You said
4
it
ယောက်
is
တ
a toxic high ground, but it's looking pretty free right now.
Level 4 and Feeble on this Rubik is also causing a lot of problems right
ဟုတ်
now.
BKB ကွာ
Ranger in a bad position. Double force down, trying to get him away. Slowing down Notice, but he just pops the cart, makes a run for it, even grabbing the life sealer. Shackle's not
shackle.
attempted. Pretty decent. Holds Notice in for a little while. BB Team trying to chase. Kiritin, nice telekinesis. Hitting
Man
2
just
different
takes
heroes.
no damage.
Kiritin trying to slow down these heroes from getting away. Pops his BKB. Sees
နိုးအောင်ရမယ်နိုးအောင်ရမယ်နိုးအောင်ရမယ်
He's so low, wants to finish him off, but he can't overcommit. He lets Miro go for that kill, and they do manage to get it. Reset a little bit, get the 4-staff to get Miro back out of there. They got the mega kill streak on no one, but it cost them oh so much. It's Elena Barracks top, and some buybacks
အဲ့
here.
ဘက်တွေတော့တော်တော်ပေးလိုက်ရတယ်အာရ
And Miro, these infest bombs, they may have some utility to get you away, but if the kill happens in just a second or 2, you may not have the positioning to bail these heroes out.
Too many threats in the fight, and you only have this Drow to deal damage. So as long as P-Vision check where Kiritich is, it's pretty easy to engage. You're just not killing the heroes fast enough. Need more DPS, more time in the fights. The scale from the Centaur, this is the problem this hero's caused. It's a very different Centaur than we're used to in the past. This hero dominates the late game now. He's just way too tanky, can bail out anybody else. He's doing a solid amount of damage. You can always go back for that shard.
တဲလက်လက်လုံးမဲ့ထင်တယ်တော်တော်ညာတဲလက်မပါတော့တွေးရဲများတဲ့ကောင်မျိုးပြစ်ချရတာ
He's
ဟဲ့
getting tornadoed up in the air.
ဟုတ်တယ်
He's
ခုမှတည်ထားတယ်
from level 25 on the Centaur. There's a lot
တွေးရဲများတဲ့ကောင်တွေကအဲ့တဲလက်တွေ critical တွေပါမှရ
his life wasn't at all. Whereas we see the damage coming off his life stealer. You jump the infest bomb in, you hit these heroes for 2 or 3 seconds, they're gone. Teamfight's way more straightforward.
70% attack damage reduction. And pretty nasty when there's really just one hero you're worrying about.
Yep. It's a really annoying spell.
And Kiritich is trying to amp up the single target damage to make himself more of a threat to these frontliners. He's got the level 25 win for the 8% marksmanship chance. He's going to go for a Daedalus up next.
You might need Divine in this game. Feels like it. Running out of scale, running out of time to find that scale.
With Roshan, they take the Tormentor and Roshan soon to be done.
The scariest thing about this Infest Centaur is like you don't even have to pop out. I think you will, because most of the time if you land a stun, you're just going to pop out and start hitting the guy. But you could sit in here for a while with how tanky he is and just see what develops in the fight. Like bait some heroes in. I mean, he's got 7,000 HP.
အဲ့ဆက်ဘရက်ကလည်းတိတ်ပြီးမလုံနိုင်တော့
The Roshan spawning top. A hefty wave is pushing in bottom.
တို့ညာကြီးမိတော့မယ်ရှင်နဲ့
Look for an opening. As a hero, somebody show. Kiritich.
Oh, that's who you want.
ဟောသေးတယ်
Lick, force stab, telekinesis holding him in place still. But they didn't feel like it was good enough. Not a commitment here from P-Vision. They'll lose their Rubik on the way out here. BB opportunity. If they can get more off this one, keep chasing these heroes. GPK, Meteor, Lick trying to save him right now. Does bail him out.
လူတက်အော်တွေနှောက်နေတာ GPK ကို
Buyback being used by the Rubik.
ချက်ချင်း
Now
မင်္ဂလာတိုက်စ်က
turn to retreat.
I think he's
Ah,
looking
yeah.
for
Still
something.
trying to get him geomagnetic grip, pulling him away, gets the kick out on Miro. And they do manage to get
Ooh.
away before a punish is there from P.
ဒါပေမဲ့စိတ်ဝင်ထားတဲ့ကောင်တို့
It's going to be
အဲ့လူတက်အော်တွေလိုက်ပြီးဒီဘက်နဲ့တော်တော်ဆိုးတယ်ဟာ
lost the gem.
Still have to look for something here if you're BB. Every time these big spells are on cooldown, the Stampede's gone. You kind of have to look for that opening, try and bait the overextension. You're not going to have a lot of other opportunities in this
Rubik
game.
တော့ပိုင်းပဲရတာ
Smoke can do just that.
And I love the momentum in these team fights, the ebb and flow, the back and forth. Both teams, it's very specific positioning. Where one team feels stronger than the other, feels like they can go for the
Bánh à
kill,
này.
be on the offensive.
အပြာချောင်းတွေပါမဆက်ဘူးလားမွတ်နေတယ်
No
ကွာ
one
ဘိန်း
again
လို့ပါ
putting
တော့
that
တော်တော်မွတ်
pressure
နေ
in
တာ
the
ဒီကောင်
bottom lane, trying to get as many heroes away from the Roche.
ကြာချောင်းတစ်ချောင်းတော့ရရင်တော်တော် okay နေတဲ့ပွဲ
To the bottom side here. BB team will take their outpost back.
This Invoker's just been so annoying.
Katomi, oh, he tried to get a ward down, but notice Satanic Duo was already there sitting on the high ground.
Such a low cooldown threat as well. I think it's a 20-second infest. Right? It just costs you nothing to go for these plays. Did get some time to kind of deward the map a little bit with your gem, regain some map control. Buyback situation, pretty mixed here for both teams. But you have a Drow Ranger buyback. I'd say that's the most important for BB if you really want to force some sort of Roshan contest. He is going to the bottom pit. That is just such a hard area to run into with no information.
Yeah. So they
သွားမလား
are
သွားမလားသွားမလား
looking
သွား
to
လိုက်မ
get
လား
this
သွား
up,
လိုက်မ
just
လား
play to the high ground. They actually do smoke. Trying to get Kiritich here.
I don't know how you can test this.
It's
Like
tough.
you need the exact angle.
If they get
ငါတို့တယောက်နဲ့တယောက်ကဲရကွာ
Blind Roland? Shiva's almost caught him.
It's like he
So
knew.
close they had the
Oh,
high
yeah.
ground ward. No, they didn't have anything there.
ငါတို့တက်လိုက်မလား
Dude, they have this ward on the
Oh, yeah, I see
little
it.
cliff spot. Okay.
Yeah, so they saw him, but unfortunately, Night Class is just a bit too fast. Maybe if they caught him with the Shiva,
he's
yes,
in.
they can
Ah,
keep the
GPK.
roll in onto the Centaur.
မာပြီထင်တယ်
Bump is BKB immediately. Drow Ranger trying to get to the Roshan. The Roshan's so low. Can they grab the Aegis?
GPK လူရှန်တော့ရသွားတယ်
Stop 1 and 3. BKBs are going to wear out soon. Managing
တေး
to
တေး
cheat
တေး
on
တေး
GPK.
တေးတေးရောက်ကြားထဲမှာကြိုက်တာကြိုက်တာကြိုက်လိုက်ကြိုက်လိုက်အာဘယ်ကောင်တော့ကြိုက်တာလဲ
By the Gust. Tornado rolls up.
Banner drop.
Hitting Miro. A reset here, and a banner drop just for the vision. They're going to see these heroes start backing away.
They're gonna try and turn.
Tackle shot attempted. Not going to land.
အာ
there.
ရှော့ပြီဗောအဲ့တော့တော်ညာကြီးကြားထဲမှာလို့
He's got the catch helix. One. Now a second one. Gonna be needed. Kiritich taking a lot of damage here. Miro's out of mana.
Look at the magnetize.
မကနဲ့တိုင်းမကနဲ့တိုင်းမကနဲ့တိုင်းမကနဲ့တော်ညာတော်ညာတော်ညာโอเคတော်ညာโอเค
But these heroes, they're just
မရဘူးအောင်အေးနားတယ်ဟာ
just sitting on top of these heroes. Can they finally beat Satanic here? Half HP. Another infection.
Won't die.
အာရောင်အေးမသိနိုင်ဘူးလို့တော်ညာအပူးခံလာရတယ်
Managed to beat Satanic here.
You can't beat Satanic. He is way too tanky.
You eat the cheese, you eat the Aegis, you have all these extra lives, and it's all not enough.
Disgusting.
Sure,
amount of
I-
sustain coming out from P-Vision in this fight. Look at the damage number from GBK, 23,000, and he got a squirrel.
3အောင် AFK 3အောင်ဖြစ်နေဒါပေမဲ့လုံးဝမထွက်တဲ့3အောင်မကြည့်ဘူး900 1000နဲ့
1000 damage.
What do you want it to do? He took the Aegis. He played it with 2 lives. He had a sick magnetize on everybody. It's the Dream Earth Spirit fight.
Yeah, he's got the level 25 talent.
He does everything he can, and it is not enough. And you have to sit there wondering, well, what the hell were we missing in this team fight? You just can't get that drow away from enemy heroes.
Catchy lick on the illusion. Trying to bait P-Vision to go for it.
I mean, I'd love to know how much of that fight there was a hero within the marksmanship range, right? Like,
Yeah.
it just felt like there was somebody on top of him the entire time. He gets licked out, someone's still on top of him. He gets kicked out, someone's still on top of him. Like, yeah, he's sitting there dealing some damage, but it's reduced by so much.
That fight also went on so long that Miro ran out of mana.
Yeah, that hurts.
So you couldn't keep the Amphibian Rhapsody going for the bonus armor, for the extra movement speed to move these heroes around, for the catchy licks that he didn't have mana for.
That's the fight that signals me. If I'm Kiritich, I'm just
I'm
buying
channel
it. Like, I don't think this Daedalus is enough.
Yeah.
They're gonna try and hunt Satanic here off the another good ward. Stayed on the map for a long time, just can't get the jump. And of course, it's the information game. You see no one pinging bottom. He's like, hey, if I'm pushing this wave in, no one's showing. They're up to something. These smokes are way too easy to read right now. And if you don't succeed with the move, the Forge Spirits start taking.
အဲ့ဘက်ဒီလေကုန်ပြီ
I have a feeling this Invoker might not get seen again in this series. Like, win or lose.
Just never show.
It always happens. This hero,
Yeah.
he comes back in these clutch situations. He gets first picked. You can't beat the lane as well as you usually do because there's a lot more pressure on
Look
you.
at this courier on courier battle. Oh my god, Nightglass with his own courier. Scouts Miro, who's trying to get a Scythe of Ice off the enemy secret shop and then chase the courier all the way and then used his hero to hunt it down, even telekinesising himself into position.
It's 2.5 minutes without that Hex here. It's a big deal. It's going to be Ags for the Drow.
Yeah.
The upside of this is it doesn't take away another item slot. Does add some significant damage. You can build up some stacks. Like, in theory, this item is good in this type of game where they have a lot of sustain and they have some big beefy targets. You can get the hypothermia on guaranteed. If you can pop one guy, it's pretty massive.
He still does need to buy out the set.
That's true. He did not have the full synth
Yeah,
here.
he doesn't have the full set.
It's a little
so,
awkward.
if the high ground push does come without an Aegis, now P-Vision might just say, okay, this is a pretty tense game. We're down 1 game in a best of 5. Maybe it's better just ride it out for another Roche. And I wouldn't disagree with that. You still have plenty of heroes.
Yeah,
that
I don't know,
can
yeah,
mix them up. I mean, no
but
one
yeah.
doesn't even have an Aghanim Scepter yet.
Oh, the Bane has an Aghanims. It's a little more for BB to play around. But I agree. I don't think you have to rush it here if you're P-Vision. I mean, maybe you're thinking about tier 5 neutrals, like who that helps a little bit more here if this game goes another 10 minutes. But I think you're also probably favored in that. That one's a little closer.
I always view as tier 5 items are going to help the team that's losing more. Just because it
Gives you a chance to come back.
Yeah, it just
GBK
gives you a
ရတယ်ကာယမှာပါတော့
fights are just a little bit weirder.
အဲ့မနာခြင်းဖြစ်
As a better
ဒါမိက
stitching user, but
သွားပြီနဲ့ဘိန်းကိုမိပြီဘိန်းကိုမိပြီ
screw all that.
RCC opportunity goes to the Bane. No Aghanim Scepter use in this fight. Trying to get the Force Stats away, but save with a null.
အာရရ
He just got wiped out.
No buys available.
I
for
don't
these
sure
two
why.
swords. They don't know that though. It's a gold issue, not a timer issue.
So they're going to play it slow. Chip away at these buildings one by one.
Now will be the gold for Kiritich to eat the accent. So he is fully online. He's used every bit of gold he's accumulated this game. Will it be enough?
They're going to keep the pressure up. Off the Iceberg tries to poke at Satanic.
It's too
He
much
gets a melee.
bonus armor,
He gets
man.
out with the Rage. There's only 1 building left till Megas.
He has
GBK
plus
ဝင်ဖို့
37
ချောင်းနေတယ်မ
bonus
ရဘူးထင်
armor.
တယ်နော် GBK
Your marksmanship is just not
မ
counting.
င်းဝင်
for
မင်း
enough
မဲ
here.
ချောင်းမင်းဝင်မင်း
If you even have
Go
enough
with
to
my
lose
arm
these
hole.
fights, you're actually just going to roll back. They're going to give up this Mega, say we can't actually take the fight without our supports. BKB, Miro's going to pop it. Scythe of Ice, an opportunity, but there's the card save. Nicely played by Notice. but
BKB
GBK
မသုံးပါဘူး
taking it with a big
GBK
magnetize. He just needs to be able to stay alive, and he just can't quite do it. Managed to get a sight onto Satanic, but Kiritich,
GBK မသုံးလိုက်အောင်
they couldn't commit for the kill there. Had to back up. They do have their supports back. GPK dead, but does have a buyback.
You have to find some squishier targets. You have to find supports or this Invoker somehow. You have to get around this Lifestealer Centaur right now. And honestly, that is one of the weaknesses of Drought. Like, she's not a hero that kills backline. You kind of have to just fight through what you see. And in these games where you can propose an indomitable front line, she struggles. She's just sitting here pumping damage into Centaur, who's just tanking it. And you can't, there's no other available target for Kiritich to hit here. This is not a swift blink fire. I mean, maybe you should have gone in this game, I don't know. But that's a wild decision.
စန်တော့ကနှောင့်သူတို့ညာပြစ်တဲ့ target တွေကို
BKB.
ပုံဝင်ကဲနေ
But he won't have to magnetize. At least not for another 20 seconds. So BB team are really trying to hold this. And P-Vision.
You can always wait for that Roche. It's potentially up in another minute here. See how much they want to force this. Let the creeps push in. Get a lot of vision. You get a lot of help. And just let Invoker play the fights.
Bait out the illusion.
Nice little bait.
ဒီကွာတာပြစ်ချာ
That's a heavy commitment onto a Centaur who's just simply not
တေးဘူးလားလို့အဲ့စန်တော့ကြီးက
But he is gonna die.
ဟောသေးတာဟောတေးသွားသေးလို့
Behind GPK with his buyback usage. P-Vision just called it quits. They said we can just accept a Centaur loss there.
It's kind of worth the buyback in this situation, to be honest. Like, how do BB use this buyback and translate it into anything?
Yeah, I could see that point.
Your only option is to just barrel towards Roche.
Yeah.
And hope it's a fast spawn.
Yeah. The likelihood of that happening is just so low. And Notice takes the time for a little bit. All chat while he spends another 70 seconds dead. A 33,000 net worth lead. This will at least give BB team some time to think about the next round of items. If they can get there. Still hoping to get that Daedalus, says Kiritich. Not working towards Divine. Miro has his level 25 with the Scythe. So
I still think it has to be Divine Draw. Like,
yeah.
There's no other way to upgrade your damage in this lineup. You are the damage.
I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time, like, isn't it usually a combo deal? You have the Daedalus, and then you go, okay, damage is still not enough. I've got to get a Divine.
Well, then you need both. I think you got to build one over the other.
One item at a time. While Satanic, he is going to be trying to pick up his 8th and 9th items here. He still has a shard he's going to purchase, I guess, and thinking about a Blink Dagger. Which, I guess, within Fest, if you wanted to put in a Blink, Centaur jumps in, and then he could pop out and Blink even further to the back line, potentially, right? If you don't get the jump on Bane like you did that first time.
Upgrade Blink is always nice against the Drow. You do have to be a little careful going super deep in the base. Like, there is Kick, there is Lick, there are some spells that can put you in the Fountain. Here you get Grip super deep, it can't get canceled. That's your only real concern fighting into the Ancient here. Other than that, you're winning the fight still. You have 5 buybacks to play with in this game. You're gonna get Roshan here. That is something else you have to think about in terms of your item management. Who's gonna take what off this next Roshan?
You wanted to see an Aghanim Scepter on Miro. He might just finally get one.
They're saving up some buybacks of their own. Every buyback is available outside of that GPK Earth Spirit one that was committed on the last fight.
We do have
Oh, look
one
at this
bomb
ward
in
bottom.
this team.
Okay, yeah, you gotta kill that. Scouting your Invoker running up the side of the map, that is
ဒီကောင်စောကြီးကပြားရောင်းတော့ကျူဆက်ထားလိုက်
potential
မှာ
right there.
ဒါလမ်းနေပါသွားလုံလိုက်တာအဲ့မှာတိုင်မင်တော်တော်နောက်ကျသွား
to Roche, so we're going to be chilling for a bit. Level 28, the Drow Ranger. We start getting to some of those later talents. Oh, get back to the multi-shots.
Start eating some mag sectors here, maybe some moon shards, you know, get in that luxury item territory. Maximize the gold game.
Yeah, Satanic doesn't have a consumed moon shard yet. Again, it always feels like, you know, you see these heroes, they're like 6 slotted at 35 minutes, and yet 20 minutes later, they still have more and more room for growth, whether it's consuming accents or moon shards.
Well, in that other really long game we had this event, we saw the teams go for the extra Helma Doms. That is also something you can spend your gold on.
Sure.
I think a lot of times that Helma Overlord with the Creep Aura is more useful than a moon shard. Like, if you're in a, it's not the same gold, obviously, but if you have an infinite gold because you're at this point in the game, I could see some of these helms start to come out for P-Vision. I mean, Granite Gold Goes hard here, that's all I'm going to say. You got some high HP boys.
Notice is 6,000 HP without the Infest.
And there's the Midas planning for the tier 5 neutral items here. You buy it early so you get that charge tick up. Got to plan ahead with everything you're doing.
Will they be able to make it to 60 minutes, though? That is the question, because
I don't know.
P-Vision are going to take this next Roshan. They expect to see a push
For sure, you just said
for
it.
that. So we're going to have one hold that is going to be hard as hell for BB Team. They will not have every single one of their buybacks. GPK's down for 3.5 minutes.
And I think
everybody else in the game has them.
I think that's why you want to send it here. I think in some games you can argue our tier 5s are better. We also have all the map control. Like, we can farm the tier 5s and then push. But I feel that Earth Spirit buyback is way more valuable. I think you just want to send it here. You have a potential buyback double bots in from like a Life Stealer who could buy it after the death and the Invoker. You have outpost control. You have everything to take a deep fight here. You just have to worry about getting repositioned into the fountain. Do not want to end up there.
Yes. Level 25 for the Hoodwink. This sharpshooter does almost 2,000 damage.
Yeah, like one shot's a support.
Yeah.
He can land it.
We saw it earlier on Save, I believe it was. Just got popped.
Here's the smoke.
Waiting for the opportunity to present itself, seeing if any of BB Team are going to push out just a bit too far.
You're just looking for an easy target to start the fight off with. You know there's going to
Okay.
be buybacks here. You know it's going to be
ကျွန်တော်ညာလေး ပြစ်နိုင်မလားဒီ item အမယ်မေးရလဲ
Jump on this.
လွန်ခဲ့တဲ့10မိနစ်တော့လည်းဒီ item အမယ်အဲ့တော့ဘယ်ပြစ်နိုင်လိမ့်မလဲ
Tier 4. Now gone.
You have to hold the
Is
glyph here.
exposed. Satanic is going to be the first point of contact here. The Wind Ranger already dead. Do manage to get the Fiend's grip on him. Can they kill him? No, put him in the cards.
ညာဦးမှာ
And now
ကားပေါ်
driving
တင်သွား
away.
ရင်
GPK, well, he wants to keep this going, but they're already out. P-Vision are away. They got a lick there on Night Class, though. Aeontis not going to last long enough, though. They do manage to kill at least one support out of this.
Traded saves by.
These cores are just too tough to deal with. They have the Fiend's grip, but there's just too good of an answer with the Aghanim Scepter on the Centaur. So somebody has to stop the Centaur from going in. I don't know how you do that.
You have to ignore him. You have to kill anybody else in this game.
He's actually going to try and get even more saves for that. He's going to consume his Aghanim Scepter. This game goes longer. He's going to get a Wind Waker.
I like that.
So he'll have both the cart and the Wind Waker. Maybe he carts the Life Sealer, then Wind Wakers himself, pull them both out of there.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You're basically playing this game. If they focus me, we win the fight. If they don't focus me, I will win the fight anyway.
And it's time for those 60-minute items. Kiritich is already pushing out there with his Hand of Midas. They have limited camps to be able to utilize. In fact,
this
look
on
at
the
this.
ward.
You see these camps over here? They left one creep in each of them. Just a little bit of extra way to screw over BB Team. You've got this one little high ground area you feel like you can push out into. Oh wait, there's only 2 creeps between the 2 camps.
I'm looking for the Madstone here. The ward does go down. I don't know how you get the Madstone here. We're going to see a nice neutral item advantage. During this Aegis, still have 2 minutes on the clock. Your Rubik will respawn. Still have Refresher Shard as well. And yeah, just block it up, man.
Such a nuisance, man.
Give him nothing.
He left them with the 1 creep. Now he's just going to outright block those camps. He's going to Wind Waker too. How many Wind Wakers are we going to need to deal with just 1 Fiend's grip?
As many as you feel comfortable pushing close to that fountain with. That'll help for sure.
Save, trying to snag a few more Madstones. But we are looking at a point where
တမ်းပတ်
this
ဖို့ကတော့မ
could
ဖြစ်နိုင်တော့
be
တော့ပါ
BB Team trapped inside their base so badly that they have 0 tier 5 items for the next one, and P-Vision have all 5.
They rolled the Stygians here if they want them. Some nice rolls for P-Vision. You gotta imagine it's gonna be Stygian for the Life Stealer.
Yeah, that's an instant take, right?
You kept the Catalyst though on the Invoker. That's the one you're gonna keep. Gonna throw some spells on Kiritich here.
အဲ
It's gonna get burned out a little bit.
Force him to use the BKB maybe. And a force stab, push
ပြေးပြန်ပြီလို့ဒီကာတိုမီပဲ
They get the Fiend's grip onto him. Kiritich is getting lucky just above the BKB. It's rough, man.
အာရရရ
There's just so much, so little. They just make a casual commitment here on the
Yeah,
side
I know you do
of
in Cold War,
P-Vision. And BB Team are bleeding out heroes, bleeding out BKB. Satanic is now hitting the Ancient, and you have no damage to be able to stop him here. They have to pop the glyph. Miro's trying to distract Satanic at best, but none of these heroes are dying.
ဒါပေမဲ့မလောက်တဲ့ပြဿနာကိုကြုံတွေ့နေရ
Yet Satanic is getting free hits on the Ancients. This one is all over. We
ဒါပေမဲ့မလောက်ပါဘူးတဲ့လုံးပြောရညာဘက်က
Execution in that late game. That is the point that P Vision want to get to in this series, where they control the map, they're choking you out, they're building a lead, they're just getting Roshan after Roshan, camp after camp. You have no freedom, really nothing to play for except some throne defense. Yeah, if you have some lineup that has a cheese pick that can 1v5, maybe you win that situation. Outside of that, there's almost no hope in this ultra late SBB team outside of kicking like 3 heroes in the fountain, which is just not going to happen. Yeah. You got out map control, and that's what this Invoker does. That is the threat of the first pick Invoker. We're going to outplay the map, we're going to control the waves better, we're going to pick you off with Sunstrike, Forward Spirits are going to push the waves in. What is your counterplay? You need a
Okay,
hero
what
that
are
can
you-
match
Nene.
that sort of presence, like a knock.
နောက်လဲနောက်ကျနေပြီဆိုတော့ king fight ဟို battle fight ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်မမီလောက်တော့ဘူးဗျဟိုကဆောင်းရတဲ့ H နေပြီဆိုတော့ဘောလုံးပဲကြည့်ရင်လို့တရေးလောက်အိမ်မှာတော့ရတာမသား Okay ငါကြည့်ပေးတဲ့ဘော်ဒါကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်เนาะနောက်နေ့ကျမှပြန်တွေ့ကြတာပေါ့